Fathers podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. If you are going through the family law court process, particularly as a father, then this podcast may be relevant to what you may experience. Some things we discuss in these episodes may be triggering, and if you suffer from any form of mental health related conditions or subject to domestic or family violence and need any assistance, then please call 1-800-RESPECT and Lifeline. The views and experiences discussed by people on our show are not necessarily the views and opinions of Broken Fathers podcast or their guest speakers. We strongly advise you seek your own independent legal and professional advice, as the Broken Fathers podcast will not be liable, answerable, or accountable for any loss or damage or litigation resulting from discussions on our platform. Right, this podcast is now in session. Hold on, guys. The judge is running late to court. So whilst we wait, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge our platinum sponsor, Straight Up Construction. At Straight Up Construction, they take pride in delivering high-end work across every trade. From new builds to renovations, no job is too big or too small. Director Luke Miller and his dedicated team tackle every project with integrity, hard work, honesty, and a commitment to delivering superior quality results every time. Straight Up Construction is built on the belief that strong foundations matter just as much in the bones of a home as they do in the heart of one. Families should stand strong, and every loving parent should maintain their right to be a part of their children's lives. Straight Up Construction believes that in true Aussie spirit, everyone deserves a fair go. That's why we're proud to have Straight Up Construction as our platinum sponsor. With their support, we continue to produce the Broken Fathers podcast and shine a light on the struggles of men who have been let down by the system. Good morning, listeners and viewers, and welcome back to the Broken Fathers podcast, Australia's first and only podcast dedicated to addressing family court issues from the perspective of fathers. I'm your host, Percy. Today's guests, let me introduce Tracey McMillan, the CEO of Queensland Family Law Practice. Tracey is an experienced family law lawyer and mediator with over 2 decades of practice. She is frequently sought after by media and community audiences to provide clear, practical guidance on family law issues, always prioritising the well-being of children. Tracey's practice focuses on parenting arrangements, domestic violence matters, divorce, and property settlements. She is outcome-focused and provides plain English advice, early risk assessments, and practical steps to minimise conflict and costs. She also utilises mediation and parenting coordination to protect children and reduce disputes related to divorce, domestic violence, and parenting arrangements. She also invented a website called No Lawyers, which is a family law platform that doesn't need lawyers and saves you thousands of dollars. The website is designed for people going through family law court to represent themselves. No Lawyers makes it easier to negotiate and arrange property and parenting arrangements, all without paying legal fees. Tracey, welcome.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you doing the drive down today.
No problem.
I hope you're ready, because I put up a post last night. Obviously, I saw that video of you talking about family court, and I had to email you and ask for you to come on, which you did, so I do appreciate it. I put up a post last night asking the followers, do you have any questions for Tracey? And there's like 300 comments there, so
Are they comments, or are they saying you're a lawyer, so therefore I want to crucify you?
No. There's so many, but they all sort of fall in categories of, they want questions about perjury. You know, why isn't anyone held accountable? Child support questions,
child support
DV questions. Yeah, DV questions. So a lot of them are the same. So we'll do it at the end, pick and choose. But like all my guests, I like to start from the bottom. You know, where was Tracey born? What was life like for her growing up?
I was born in Brisbane, so Brisbane born and raised girl.
Brisbane Broncos?
I'm not, well, look, yeah, if I have to, but I'm not a football girl. Like, I'm no sports at all. Yeah. Like, I've been given free tickets all the time, and I'm like, if there's a bar attached to it, fine. Maybe. But otherwise, don't give it to me. It's a waste of money. Sorry, guys. I'm not for the whole origin or anything like that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Everyone's turned off now. But yeah, no, I grew up with 3 older brothers. I was the only girl, youngest of the family. So it was a case of put up or shut up. The way you won an argument was with your fists. And the way disputes were resolved in our family was my mum to turn around and say, don't break the furniture and take it outside. And we all did martial arts. So I grew up doing martial arts from like jiu-jitsu from the age of 3.
There you go.
So, yeah, so I was an Australian champion. All of our family were all Australian champions. So we were taught
Yep.
to be violent,
Well-
not in a intentionally way, but yeah, we were pretty much like that. So I was always a bit of a fighter right
Yep.
from start. So yeah.
Whereabouts in Brisbane you grew up?
I grew up at Brackenridge,
Yep.
originally, and then we moved to Cashmere.
Okay.
Yes.
So what school did you go to?
I went to I went to a couple. So Norris Road to begin with, state
Yep.
school, then Albany Creek, and then Albany Creek High.
So do you hate? I grew up on the south side and I hate north side. Are you the same?
Oh yeah, I hate South
Well,
Side.
isn't
Your
that-
streets are absolutely backwards. At least on the north side, you can drive along, forget where you're going, go, oh, I've gone the wrong way. Oh, never mind. I'll grab the next couple of streets. It'll get me there.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. It's just, isn't it weird? Like I'll drive the north side. Like I just want to get out of here. And it's the same, vice versa.
Yeah. I had a friend we used to call, who we used to work together. And as I was driving home and she was driving home, we'd be talking in the car on like different cars. And hers would be, all you'd hear this is, and she'd be on the highway because she lived at like Daisy Hill, Southside area.
Yep.
And all she'd ever hear with me driving is the blinker because I'd be like turning here, turning there. So that sort of defines really the difference, isn't it?
All right. So you grew up 3 brothers. Mum and dad still together?
Yeah, mum and dad are still together.
That's good.
Yep. Dad's an ex-Navy guy. Mum was a stay-at-home mum.
Yep.
All of that stuff. So yeah,
Bless.
basically, yeah.
Were they still in Brizzy?
They're still in Brisbane. Yep,
Oh, nice.
absolutely.
So your dad's a veteran?
He is a vet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
and he has PTSD
Yep.
and things from that, and asbestosis from being in the Navy and having the air conditioning
Oh,
unit.
yeah,
He used
yeah.
to wake up in the morning and dust the asbestos
Oh,
off his.
wow.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did Navy. I did an exercise. It was called the manure ship. And just trying to get around under that ship was a nightmare. So,
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
It's a doozy, isn't it?
So you schooling, Brisbane, grew up 3 brothers. Did you want to become a lawyer when you were that young? At what point did you want to become
I
a lawyer?
wanted to become, I'll tell you exactly when I knew I wanted to be a barrister. And that was at the age of 12.
Wow.
When I was in grade 7 and we were doing a debate on the Tiananmen Square massacre.
I don't know about that. What's
So that's where over in China,
Yep.
there were all these students protesting in this massive square
Yep.
in Tiananmen Square. And because they wouldn't disperse, they ran over them with tanks.
Oh, wow.
So killed
I
them. So
didn't
it was
know
a
about this,
really huge thing. So we had to do a debate. So that was the first time I had to do any form of, legitimate argument.
At 12.
At 12, in grade 7, and I crushed it. So, and I loved it.
Wow.
I love formulating the arguments and things like that.
Yeah.
And seeing different points of view. From there on, I went, right, I want to be a barrister. It wasn't even just a lawyer. I wanted to be a barrister. And it was either that or be a psychologist.
Yeah, wow.
And it's quite funny. Those two still play quite hand in hand.
Yeah.
So I actually tend to do a lot of behavioral therapy type stuff and NLP work and things like that as well.
Oh, yeah. We'll touch on it later. Yeah. Looking back now, you happy you went down the legal side? Would you have gone psychologist?
Well, okay. So ironically, now that I'm older, so like I've got a lot more grey hairs covered up under my bleach and dye. Thank God for hairdressers. Now that I've done a lot more work on me and self-development, I actually realized that part of my want to go into being a lawyer and ironically, the path for all lawyers who want to go into law, unless let's exclude tax law because only very special people want to do that, or contract lawyers because all they do is sit in the background and just write documents. But people who like arguing and fighting and if that really stimulates them is actually comes from a response to their childhood trauma.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So I had a really great childhood. There was also still some traumas that come from that. And in response to that was basically, okay, you got to suck it up, kiddo. This is what it is, and this is life. It was basically teaching quite a masculine response. In doing so, going into law was my childhood trauma response to fight. So you
Okay.
move into fight or flight.
Yep.
And when you move into fight or flight, if you enjoying being there, or if you get really excited with competitions and being competitive, or think of salesmen that are all about making the money, making the hits, lawyers always about the win. And I was the most arrogant lawyer to begin with, because it was like people would ask me how many wins had I had, and I said, I don't care, not interested in the wins. And they go, well, how many losses? I said, I can tell you how many losses I have, and they're on one hand, because that made it was more important to me for an ego stroking thing. And so that's why I went into law, was to actually, because it was comfortable, because I was in that fight or flight mode.
Yeah. Hey guys, just a quick shout out to our gold sponsors. MCH Industries are a mining maintenance specialist company supplying solutions to the coal mining industry in the Bowen Basin and regional New South Wales. They supply superintendents, supervisors, leading hands, diesel fitters, tyre fitters, auto electricians, HV electricians, and trade assistants to assist. The mining one-stop shop for mechanical trades. MCH Industries are always looking for good blokes to jump on the team, so check out their Instagram for more details. And are you looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? There's only one name that's been leading the way for over 123 years, Ray White. Ray White isn't just another real estate brand. It's a family business built on ambition, trust, and leadership. Today, it stands as the largest real estate group in Australasia, connecting people with homes and investments across the country. Whether you're a first-time buyer, a seasoned investor, or looking for that perfect home, Ray White is committed to delivering authentic, local expertise. Because real estate isn't just about properties, it's about people, communities, and futures. And when it comes to trusted leadership, meet Alex Illian, an ex-Army veteran turned dedicated real estate agent. Alex knows what it means to serve, to strategize, and to get the job done. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just have questions, Alex is here to guide you every step of the way, servicing the Geelong, Bellarine, and Surf Coast areas. Ray White, the name you can trust in real estate. You thrive in that environment.
You thrive in that environment.
That's your bread and butter.
But any lawyer, because you wouldn't be a lawyer unless that was common for you and a comfortable place to be, which is in fight or flight, which no person should be in because any extended period of time. It's not a healthy place to be. Yeah. So when you actually start to work through your shit, which I have, as you start to peel off those layers and all of that, you actually start to go, the fight's exhausting. I don't want to fight anymore. So it's funny when I see other lawyers giving advice, or the posturing or the egos come out, especially with barristers more than anyone.
Yeah. Because
they're all about bravado, and I've seen some really appalling behavior of barristers about standing over even me. And trying to intimidate. All of it is, you just look at it and you go, here is just an insecure child in an adult clothes right now responding. So that's basically how it was. So if I look back in answer, I wish that I would never have been the person who navigated towards law, because it would mean that I wouldn't have had those experiences. But I'm really grateful for them, because they make me who I am, and they make me really strong to be able to really protect people who are in need, which is awesome.
Yeah. So when you said they go psychologists and lawyers go hand in hand, I feel like, because you have clients, they come and vent to you, right? Like if I was a new client, oh, she did this, she did that, I got to fight for my kid. It's just similar, like seeing a psychologist, they're sort of venting to you, right? Is that?
Yeah. So I actually think lawyers have a really, especially in family law, because family law is known throughout the legal industry as those types of lawyers, the yucky emotions. And I've actually interviewed lawyers before who, when I talk about, tears are good, tears are healthy, tears are a release of energy, let's not be afraid of those, I've actually literally seen them physically cringe. And I go, well, what do you do when a client is crying in front of you or they're emotionally distraught? And they go, oh, we just push a bunch of tissues at them and go, ooh, go and see a psychologist or a counselor. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? Like, don't you have
emotional connection, I think?
No, don't you have a responsibility because of your position, not to be
duty of care, would you call it?
A duty of care, is very huge to these people morally, to be able to help give them some guidance or some tools, because these people are at
struggling.
Well, I always say you see it this way. In criminal law, you see bad people at their best because they're dressed up in the black suit with the black shirt, with the tats coming out the hands, with the gold chains.
Yep.
And you can tell they've never worn a suit before in their life because the suit's wearing them. In family law, it's the reverse. You see good people at their worst. You see good people where they're fighting over
It's interesting. Yeah, good way to say that. Yeah.
everything that they've ever. You think about it.
Yeah.
What are the two most important things in your life?
Your kids?
Your kids and
Mm.
anything you've ever earned. That's all your hard work. And that's the two things you're fighting over. And here you are, you're going to a lawyer who has no emotional intelligence. They're in fight or flight mode, which means they can't navigate you through. And if you pick the wrong lawyer, they're going to actually be designed to get into the fight because they love the fight. They want to win. And if you settle, and I know this because I used to feel like this, when the matter settles where it doesn't get to final trial, whilst it's like, oh, okay, that's great, internally, and the unspoken thing is, oh, but I wanted to win. Because when I'm in court and I can actually show, look at me, ha, 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 I won, it makes you feel good, you know? Because they say you're not a lawyer until you've won an unwinnable case and lost an unlosable case.
I'm trying to put and I'm not defending those lawyers, I'm trying to put myself in their shoes. Do you feel like maybe some lawyers emotionally shut themselves off on purpose because maybe it's taken a toll on them? Maybe they had to put a defense mechanism, go, you know, I'm getting too emotionally connected with all my clients. I'm going to have to, and I'm not defending them. I'm just trying to think maybe they've put that in place to go, for me to continue on with my career or continue with my job, I have to sort of put up this emotional wall because otherwise I'm, you know what I mean? I'm maybe
But you don't need to defend them because they don't even know that they're doing it. So lawyers don't actually have this knowledge and they don't have these tools, and I understand that. So it's not critical of them because they know no better, and they believe that what is the best thing is to fight, and that's the tool that they're implementing because of their childhood trauma response, which is great. That's fine. That's a tool, and that's a really important thing to have. So when you do need a fighter, they're there. You know, like I can step back into that for me really easily, but I'm also mindful now that you then need to, once the fight is done, you need to step away, reset, but yes, they put the barriers up. One of the things I used to do is not learn my clients' names or their children's names. I used to sit into my short-term memory specifically, especially when I was a barrister for 8 years. To learn my clients' names meant that I had to be emotionally connected or attached to them in some manner. Instead, what I used to do is just treat it like it was an exam at university. And I just wanted to win the exam and, you know, get like an A in the exam. That was my coping mechanism. And for a lot of them, it is. But if all you ever do is focus on the fight, then what happens is sometimes you lead your clients into a really unhealthy arena. Yeah. Where there are so many other tools which are really helpful that I've learned and I've created that when you actually show your clients how to use them, you actually take them from just winning in the family court to actually realizing they're actually going to be improving as individuals, as dads, mums and dads, as co-parents, and helping them to understand what's actually going on. Because once you understand what's going on, you can navigate it without all the emotion and the hostility and the anger. Not all the time, but at least it gives you the guidance. So,
do you see many lawyers come and go? They come in an industry
and burn out.
It's not for me.
Heaps.
Yeah, heaps. Yeah.
Heaps. Depending upon the firms that they're in. There are some firms that will literally have them come in and what they
put all the work
they churn and burn. Yeah. And that's part of their business model. We don't in my firm. I have a very strict policy of come 4 or 5 o'clock whenever they've finished, that they're there to shut off and go home, because if all you're ever doing is working at work.
That balance.
Yeah, balance is really important to fill your cup. But it's also when you get the people who are working really long hours going, oh, look, it's okay. I turn around and go, why? What's going on at home that you're avoiding? because you can't have both home life and work life in crisis. You can only have one at a time. It's too hard otherwise.
It's interesting you say that because I couldn't be a family lawyer because I would assume your guys' phones would be going off at all. Even I would assume 3, 4 in the morning. Oh, this just happened. You know?
No, I won't let it. But yeah, there are firms out there that do that.
Firms, but like for me, for me, like doing this pod right now, this is the part I enjoy.
Yeah.
Getting the guests on, but in between, I have fathers message me every day, and I feel obliged to get back to everyone, but it is taking a toll on me, and it's taking a toll on me and my partner's relationship because when I come home, my phone's still going off, and she's talking to me, and I'm trying to reply to everyone, and I'm not separating that balance. I have to remind fathers that I'm a guy with a platform podcast, but there's fathers that have messaged me affidavits, court orders, and I'm just like, man, I'm not that dude. I'm not a counselor, and when I go home, I have to turn my phone on airplane mode because I need to I need to switch off.
Yeah.
And 2, make the time at home for my partner. That's our time, and so I couldn't imagine it'd be like for a lawyer, barrister, because I feel like
it can be intense if you don't have those barriers.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, so when you go home, have you created like a third space for yourself? So by third space, what we do is this, because where it is intense, and this is even for fathers, or if you're going through a separation or whatever, you've got to know when to shut off so as it doesn't actually affect your family. And it doesn't mean you turning into a different person or whatever. And there's a book called The Third Space, and I watched a speaker about 3 months ago. It was amazing. I don't usually buy books of speakers, but I loved it and came home and I threw it at my husband and said,
read this.
Read it. But basically he was a high-end CEO, really busy, go, of a really massive company. And then he'd come home and then he discovered that his kids, as he was walking in the front door, would run away and run out the back to get away from him because he'd be bringing all the crap from work
trauma,
to home.
Energy.
Yeah. So what he did, I mean, he went to extremes. But what he did is he realized, oh, crap, I'm bringing it home. And it's not a case of just switch from one to the other straight away. You've got to create an intermediate space to decompress. And so what he did was he actually rebuilt his home to create a new entry. So what he'd do is when he would walk in the door, he would walk in this specific entry. He would not see any of his children or his wife until he went upstairs, had a shower,
unloaded,
took his clothes off,
decompressed,
and then he'd come down, and then he was now Father of the Year.
Okay,
and that's
good. Yeah,
and I do it as well. So I have a convertible. Don't judge me.
No.
That's my happy place. So part of what I actually do with mine is when we have beautiful spring days and things like that, top down on the way home from work if I'm there, but. If my husband is with me in the car, then the very first thing I do when I get home is work clothes off, jewelry off, dags on. That's my decompression.
Comfortable.
Yeah. And thereafter it's no discussion about work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was literally just I was sort of talking to my partner about this other day. Like I've got this ongoing beef with child support, and I've got to go to ART, and it comes up, and then I'm talking to my partner about it. And I just said, you know what? From here on in, I'm not talking to you about, because it's got nothing to do with her, but here I am.
Yeah, but she's carrying your baggage.
Yeah, exactly. And so I said, you know what? I'm not talking about this anymore.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it who I need to, but at home, no more child support talk, no more.
Well, I mean, I don't know how that works for her though, because then she's now completely excluded. So that's an all or nothing thing. Instead of doing all or nothing, because that could be hard because you also need an outlet to be able to converse, have a set time or whatever. So my husband and I hate talking about finances. Hate it. Happy to go shopping. Don't want to pay the bills. He loves paying the bills. He's like one of those nerdy people.
Yeah.
But what we do is when he has to talk to me about finances in relation to the firm or whatever, the rule is never on a Friday and never after midday, because I will, and especially if I've got to pay a tax bill. So the first thing that will come out of my mouth is, motherfucking, I don't want to fucking pay tax for it. So the first thing is I want to make sure that that's early in the day so that I can distract my mind at a later time.
Yeah.
So instead of all or nothing, allow her and just say, okay, I'm going to converse about this. and then
Put it to bed.
and then park it.
Yeah.
And then that way she's hearing what you're going through, because otherwise you're going to isolate her, and that's not, and then your relationship's going to get damaged from that as well.
Yeah, I have the habit of always reverting to military technique styles, and I'm not in the military anymore, but I like to, at the start of the day we have a pre-start, or we'll talk about what's on for the day, and then that's it. And then at night time, all right, this is what happened during the day, what do we need to do tomorrow? But that's something that I like to fall back on, instead of talking about all day every day. But I can't always.
But she's not like that.
Exactly.
And she wasn't in the military.
And I can't tell her to come
that.
to meet me at my lifestyle. So got to find.
And she will be your complete opposite, because you wouldn't be
she
with
is
her
my
otherwise.
opposite. She is my opposite.
Yep.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
So, and that's when you sit down and actually say to her, okay, well, what works for you? What works for me? Because I still want us to be connected. I still want you to know the stress of what I'm going through, so that she can understand that. Because all you're doing is then pushing it into the fuck it bucket. And the fuck it bucket's not good.
Yeah.
The fuck it bucket then becomes the fuck it willy bin, and then it becomes you've got shares in the local tip. So it just builds and it grows and grows. But it's about, you've got to, like a bottle of Coke. You know how you shake it up?
Yep, that's it.
It's got to be a slow release, otherwise it explodes like a volcano.
Yeah, we are like in the morning. I wake up, make the bed, have a shower, and she's like, whoa. She's like, just cruise.
But that's military.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's military training.
Yeah. All right, so you finish high school, you go straight to uni, is it right? To do?
Yeah, I went straight to
uni. It was 4 years.
I did 5.5, because it was actually quite funny. I did the first year and I wanted a little bit of a break of the year, so I decided to do psychology.
Oh
yeah. So that was fun. So I learned about Hans the horse and Pavlov's dog and all that crap.
Yeah,
which was cool. And then I also did some law subjects as well. So I sort of split it, but then I was working full time because I had one of my parents' friends who owned a law firm. This is how I got into family law. Because I never wanted to be in family law.
What were you initially wanting to do?
Oh, I wanted to do criminal law, like all the young lawyers.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to go in there and I don't want to represent the defendants. Well, actually I did, because I actually thought you got far more insider information from what really makes a criminal tick from actually representing them than you did from trying to put them away. But you realize really quickly that if you're a prosecutor, you earn basically F all. And so so I wanted to do that. But then you realize also in criminal law, you really don't get that much money as well. But it was my mum and dad's friends who turned around and said, look, we've got a family law firm and commercial law firm. Will you come and be a law clerk with us while you're studying? And I went, oh, what area would I be doing? And she's like, family law. I'm like, ugh, yuck. I don't want to do that. But I was good at it. And the one thing as I went through, so I was with her, and how it went was, if you look at my certificates, it was I got admitted as a barrister and then I graduated university.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I haven't been yet. So how does it work? Because lawyers, you have to do so much time as a lawyer before you become a barrister? Or
well, technically, no, you don't.
You have to do a test, right?
You have to do,
The
you
bar
can do
test
it.
or something?
The bar exam is one way. No one
And that's
really,
100% something like
no
that?
one really does it.
Okay.
No, the other thing is I think it was about a 6 or 9 week course of absolute fucking hell.
I bet.
Where you literally had to do a new trial in a different area that you knew nothing about every day versus or a written opinion or all that. So teaching you advocacy and skills and stuff. But my God, it was absolutely intense.
Yeah.
And when you're appearing before judges who are very particular, and like I remember we got roused on for having a water bottle on the bar table because that's not etiquette. That wasn't me. That was my colleague and things like that. But yeah, no, I think a lot of us thought, shit, we'll never get through it, but we did. And then you get admitted as a barrister. So, and then you've got to do a year in pupillage. So you have
Like
senior.
probation barrister type thing?
Well,
or
you have senior barristers who you go into court with, so you're learning from them and things
shadowing type thing?
shadowing. Yeah.
To become a judge, do you have to be previously? Do you have to be a lawyer or barrister to become a judge? How do judges
Yes, you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's expression of interest. A lot of people will say political alignments. So it depends on who's in government and who
Who do you know? Or
who do you know?
yeah.
So I remember one barrister was turning around saying to me, "I'll never be asked to be a judge because in university I was a member of the Communist Party." It's like, okay, fair enough. But you get invited to do it, and usually they go from you've got to have been there for at least 10 years as a barrister, usually, but there have been affirmative action appointments in the past, so a lot more female barristers and solicitors were appointed straight to the bench. So solicitors don't usually go straight to the bench, but they can.
Do you have to sit an exam to become a judge? No. You get interviewed, or
yeah, they do the interview for you. They actually go to the bar association and they ask the bar association as to who they suspect and what are their credentials and what's their background and all of that. You have to be the type of person who likes to toe the line.
Random question.
That won't be me.
Do judges look for certain things as like if I was your client, what would the judge call me? Client or
applicant or respondent? Yeah.
Does it really care if you wear a suit or not? As like, does a judge go?
Depends on what court you're in. They don't care if you wear a suit. But if you walk in there, let's say
just shorts, gym gear.
If you walked in there like that for court, I would smack you over the ear and say, go back and get dressed.
Would the judge ask you to leave? If I said no.
No, he will not ask you to leave.
Would he ask you to leave?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes. Here's the irony. Just before, so I got admitted. So I became a barrister 25 years ago, and I've been in law for 30 years. Yeah. So yeah, that shows my age, doesn't it? I like to say I got admitted 5 years ago. But back then, females were not permitted to wear pants in court.
So dress?
Slacks.
Slacks.
They were not allowed to wear slacks in court. You were not allowed to wear bright colours like red or pink and things like that. Okay. And you must always be wearing a jacket.
Yep. Men
were not permitted to wear light coloured suits. So in the old days, light coloured suits were known as lounge suits.
Yep.
No. And what would happen is the judges in the old days would turn around and say, I don't see you. They would not acknowledge you at the bar table.
What's some things that we wouldn't know? Things that maybe judges look for, or maybe just in general, family court, anything. Well, the things what to do and what not to do in court. Like obviously, so you wear a suit, dress nice.
You dress like you're going to go to a church, and I don't mean in your raggy jeans or anything like that. Dress respectably. When I have a client, I actually always tell them what to wear.
Okay.
I absolutely always tell them what to wear. If you're not used to wearing a suit, it actually looks really bad on you to wear a suit. Understand that judges who are before you are going to be mostly highly conservative people, because they're not going to put radicals on the bench, right? Which means tattoos, they don't want to see them. Yeah. Sorry. Like, they're getting better, but they don't want to see them. Yeah, I can see you thinking.
Yeah, do they profile or do they write you off? Because I'm heavily tattooed, as you can see, but is it like red cross against your name? Obviously, I got a throat. I can't cover that.
Yeah, no.
I could wear a scarf, but I mean, so
no, don't wear a scarf.
Off the bat, he's going to be like, okay, throat tattoos.
The throat tattoos. So, for instance, if you're in the magistrate's court, if you're going into criminal law, right? Straight away, when you see somebody who is wearing a suit, and when they wear the black shirt under the suit,
no good.
You can tell. You can tell that that's not respectable dressing.
Oh, I didn't know that. So black and white, you want a white shirt?
Black and white, tie, or a light coloured shirt.
Don't go all black like you're going to a funeral or something.
Yeah, well, it looks
gangster.
It's gangster.
I know what you mean.
It's fully gangster. And then you've got the big gold chain bracelets and stuff like that. Don't do that. Just tone it down. With women, I actually always turn around and basically say, I want you to look like, I do not want you dripping in gold and diamonds, because then you look conceited and entitled.
Mm-hmm.
And because these people are human, they're going to see, remember, they're visual first with looking at what's going on. So you don't want to ever have glasses on your head. That is one of the things will
True.
really piss it off. No chewing gum, no rolling of the eyes. Even if you not agree with what the judge says, don't roll your eyes and don't scoff. The arguing back for a judge is not your job, it's mine, and I've done it plenty of times. But we do it in a professional way, whereas self-representeds just make themselves look really shit when they do that. But yeah, with dressing for a female, soft flowing pastel colors, no vibrant, big, bright colors for them.
Mm-hmm.
For men, if you're not used to wearing a suit, do not wear a jacket. It just looks weird. But wear a shirt. Always wear a button-up shirt.
And a tie? Tie or no tie?
Tie you can do or no,
Okay.
and just with nice slacks,
Yep.
nice coloured slacks. That to me gives across, it's about looking more authentic. But if you go in with a muscle shirt, it's like you look like a thug. Straight
Yeah.
away, everyone will go, you've got muscles. And if you're walking into a domestic violence application and you dress like you've got muscles, I've actually had, I'll give you an example. One of my clients' husbands had to give evidence, and he was so buff, like so buff that his head looked little.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We used to joke with him about it, and he was shorter. So we actually had to send him shopping because he looked too buff. And part of the argument from the other side was he was aggressive and he was overbearing. So what we did was we actually sent him shopping for a cardigan, and the cardigan had to be really oversized.
Yep.
So as it slimmed down the look of the muscles. So you don't want to look bulky and muscly in court. You want to throw on a cardigan. Anybody can wear a cardigan. It was amazing. Once the moment he'd finished giving evidence, he took it off and he's like, have it. I don't want to see it again. I thought it was a nice cardigan. But yeah, we those are all tricks that you absolutely have to do. If you've got piercings in your ear, remove them.
I know what your answer is going to be. Bowing down, going in the court as an applicant.
Yep.
You obviously tell your clients, your applicants, to always do it. But as an applicant, is there, when I go in, do I have to? I know you tell me to, but
to bow as you walk in the courtroom.
yeah, and exit, right? You got to do it when you exit.
Absolutely.
Now, do you lose points? So for my story, and I think, towards the back of the 3 years, I just, I was over it. I said, I'm not bound anymore because he's not listening to any evidence. And I was burnt out. I was broken and I was dirty.
You're pissed off.
I was pissed off.
Yeah.
I was, I'm not bound anymore. I think I Googled, I can't rely on Google. It said, there's no requirement that you have to. Don't quote me word for word, but it said it's obviously frowned upon. But
it's a court courtesy.
Courtesy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if the judge saw you not bow, would he be like, righto, you lose a brownie point?
No, there's plenty of people who walk out of the court and don't bow these days.
Okay.
But from a lawyer perspective, absolutely we would. I always would. And the more I respect the judge, the more I will really bow, because they will look up as you come in because there's a noise. And if they see you bow, and it's respectful, so they're like, okay, thank you.
Okay.
As you're walking in, as you're walking out, well, it's already done, right?
Yeah.
For that
Yeah,
day
for
anyway.
that day, yeah.
But yeah, so always, like, again, lawyers have very strict rules about etiquette that we follow, but self-represented people don't.
Okay.
Yeah, and you're not expected to, because you don't have a law degree. You haven't have to jump through all these hoops.
While we're on it, I know we're going off timeline, but self-represent, I didn't do it. I wouldn't know how to do it, but a lot of people say you should do self-represent. Would you recommend to people to self-represent? Because to self-represent, right? If I walked in the courtroom and the judge and I said I'm self-representing, however that worked, would the judge be like, "Oh my god, this is gonna be annoying"? Are they used to it?
Okay, so let me So here's the pros and cons of all this, right? So back when I first started as a lawyer, as a barrister, only about 2% of people were self-represented in family court.
Yep.
Now it's up to nearly 50%.
Wow.
Because the cost of going through the family court because of all the stupid procedures and regulations and all the extra forms that you have to fill in now is just nonsense, and it racks up legal costs. So when you self-represent, so the courts are now more inclined to take the time for self-represented litigants. Drives me nuts because they give self-reps a lot more leeway than they do with lawyers. Yeah, they do, because what judges are trying to do is avoid something being appellable.
Okay.
So what that is called procedural fairness that they've got to give.
Yep.
So they've got to give them chances.
Because they're not educated or they're not a subject matter. They need to give you more time to get your head around the space.
Whereas with the lawyer, they're far harder, and they're like, well, you know the law, you know the act, and if you don't know the act, why are you here? Type of thing. So from a cost point of view, absolutely, if you're going to go through the family court and you think you're going to pay a lawyer less than $100,000 on a good day, you're an idiot. Like it just, even though lawyers go, oh, you can't charge that. The fact is the court requires constant engagement and constant documents and all these steps that just rack up the costs.
Yep.
Even without lawyers increasing the fees or anything like that. But I will tell you right now, the amount of times I have had somebody who was self-represented actually against my firm who have been successful against us, so against lawyers.
Yep.
Probably 2.
Yeah, okay.
Because we know the holes, we know the loopholes, we know the tools. I know strategically how to maneuver around it. I know how to, if I chose to, make the other side really struggle with different things in order to get what we want over here. It's all about strategic lawyering. And it's about using whatever tools are at your advantage. One of the things that self-represented litigants don't use as a tool, which most lawyers don't use it all the time either, and don't really know what to do with it, is what we call a notice to admit. And a notice to admit is a document where you write it to the other side and you say, this is a notice to admit that you separated on this date, you did this document here, you went here on this date, and you list down a whole lot of facts that you're putting to them on the other side to say, this is what we say is the facts. Now, a lot of lawyers get caught in the trap, and self-represented litigants also get caught in the trap, because if they don't respond to it, it's taken to be fact.
Oh, okay.
And then you go, well, there's the evidence, Your Honour, there's a notice to admit that's actually taken. Whereas a self-rep, if they did that to a lawyer, and bearing in mind most lawyers, especially junior lawyers, who don't actually know what to do with it, if they miss out on the time frame for responding, you're like, too bad, so sad. It's now taken, and you actually help avoid half your cross-examination because you've slipped in a little cheeky thing that you really want them to acknowledge.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it.
Yeah, I know. There's plenty of really cool tools out there. But again, you shouldn't have to know about it because you're self-rep.
Yeah.
You know, like the system's not designed for self-reps, but
if you self-represent, you got to upload stuff in the portal. Is it the portal? And stuff has to be in the right font or the right size, otherwise they knock it back. Is that right?
Font.
12 font. So that's another thing I've learned through other people. Font. So if you're self-representing and you uploaded stuff, they just knock it back, right? Do it again?
They can do it. Depending upon the registry and stuff like that, they can absolutely be really difficult. Contraventions, applications is another one that we get knocked back from time to time when we've had to do them, purely because we say the contravention has occurred from this date through to a period of this date, right? So it's an ongoing breach.
Yep.
And the registry will knock it back and go, no, you've got to specify a date. And it's like, we've said continuously from this period to this period. They're like, no, you haven't specified a date. And it's them being particular about how they want to actually have it seen. Whereas for a self-represented litigant, when they get that stuff knocked back, where we know, okay, they're just being difficult, a self-rep would go, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they get panicky. Yeah. Because nobody's there to actually help or show them or guide them and anything like that.
Contravention. I think someone told me, correct me if I'm wrong, be careful. Let's just say I had trial coming up in 3 months.
Yep.
And so my ex has been breaching, refusing to bring my daughter. So we put in a contravention application. Is that right? Is that the correct
Well,
term?
you could do.
Good.
That's one way. Yep.
They said, be careful doing a contravention because if you've got trial come up in 3 months and you put a contravention in, they need to hear that contravention application separately. And if they can't get they can't get you in for, let's just say 6 months time, your trial will get pushed back because they want to hear the contravention before you go to trial. Is that right? Did I word that right?
You've worded it right. I will say yes, no, maybe. It depends on which registrar gets it. So technically, under the rules, contraventions are meant to be prioritised. So you should be able to actually get on a lot quicker for contraventions. In the past, they were specifically not prioritised, so it could take you up to 18 months. But they run sometimes separately and distinct, right? Like because a contravention falls on its own merits and it's about one specific issue of the breach. If I was having a trial come up, I would not file a contravention. Personally, I would say no, I would use that as evidence to be determined into the trial.
Yeah, that's how I remember it because I remember we didn't have trial, but we had a court date coming up.
Yep.
And my ex had been breaching the court order. And I remember when I rocked up to handover, she didn't rock up and I rang the lawyer because I was like, mate, she breached. Like, this is it. Like, and I assumed cops would go and, kick in the door.
Cops can't.
Yeah. And then he's
cops
like,
have no jurisdiction.
Yeah. And then he says, mate, sorry to burst your bubble, but what's going to happen is we'll have to file a contravention. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah.
But he said to me, he goes, listen, we're not going to do it. We've got court coming up in 4 weeks' time. You're just going to have to cop it for the next 4 weeks, but the judge will thank us for us. And, to me, I was like, oh, this is not making sense to me. Then when I got to court, the judge actually did say, thank you for not filing a contravention application because I don't need more paperwork thing. And then he drilled her. He gave a big verbal ripping.
And you really have to play that. Like strategically, cards, you got to go put her in the box and just absolutely slam her because that shows that she's the attitude to parenting, attitude to the orders that already exist. And to me, that's where the gold is because ultimately a contravention, all you're going to get is either she's going to get a slap on the wrist, really, like she might get a fine. They have the ability to change orders under a contravention. Worst case scenario, they could get imprisonment. But that's very, very rare with the imprisonment. I have seen it happen, but it's very, very rare.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, I've seen people dragged out of court and put in jail.
Wow. Physically dragged?
Yes.
By the security of the
in the back of the courtroom.
Oh, wow.
It was horrendous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was it wasn't my matter. It happened to be in the back of a courtroom, but it was the person refused to come in the courtroom without the children. So the judge said, fine, bring the children in and then arrested her.
Yeah, because I've seen, so for the listeners out there, children can't be brought to family court, right? Unless invited by the judge. Yeah, so I remember I was there
Anyone
one time.
under the age of 18,
Yeah, I remember the lady, it wasn't our case, there was a lady brought her child in. I remember what do you call the scribe person? Or the person that types in the courtroom. Transcriber. I think
back in the old days.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure the judge sent someone came down.
It would have been the law clerk.
Law clerk came down and said, sorry, and you can't have your child. Yeah, but
appropriately so.
Yeah, and she said, I don't have anyone look after my child, and so they let it go. But I'm going off with so many questions to ask. I'll finish your time. So you finished uni.
Yep.
Went to your family friend's law firm. Started there.
Yep. Went there.
Started there. Worked for how many years before? Like, at what point?
I worked there until I worked there for about 5-6 years.
Yep.
And then she had some health issues and was selling the firm, and so I went, oh, bugger this, I'm going to go to the bar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you went to the bar and sat the test, I assume? That's a test.
No, I did a course.
Oh, did you? You did a 9-week course?
I did the course from hell.
Yeah, course from hell?
Yes.
And then you became a barrister?
Yep.
And then
I was a barrister for 8 years.
At the same firm, or you went to?
No, so barristers work for themselves.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
So I had chambers in Inns of Court, for 8 years.
And that's better. Like did you prefer being a barrister compared to a lawyer? The pros and cons?
Yes and no. They're different. Being a barrister is high intense, like you would not believe the intensity of the stress levels. Right. but it's shorter periods of time. So you stick it all in your short-term memory. The amount of all-nighters I used to pull, like I used to prepare my cases with a bottle of red wine, a packet of cigarettes back when I smoked, a bottle of V and no-dose.
Yeah.
And I used to sit there and then prepare. I'd go into court, run the trial, and then literally jump in the car. And as I'm coming back home, you could actually feel myself crashing. And it was actually quite dangerous.
Yeah.
And I did that on repeat. Like sometimes I had 4 trials in a week, basically back to back. And by the end of the week, so you lived hard, you play hard, really. But yeah,
as a barrister, the lawyers from the law firm will have to brief you.
Yeah.
And depending how good that brief is, will depend on your work. Like if they've briefed you very well, okay, good.
No, so we have so when you're a barrister, because I'm not a barrister anymore, but when you're a barrister, we have what's called the cab rank rule, which is a law firm will provide you with a brief. As long as it's within your area of expertise, you have to accept, and you're available, you have to accept it. You can't pick and choose your favorites.
Oh.
Yeah.
So does that mean if you didn't want it, you could say you're not available? Would you say barristers out there would use that line to get out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
or I've got some really close colleagues, barristers, I brief and things like that, and they're like, "Oh shit, Trace, are you serious?" And I said, Yeah, but I'll buy a bottle of wine after. I apologize in advance because this client, blah, 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 blah. But I have a rule, which is I don't take on assholes as clients.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm sorry, but no.
All right. So have you ever had a law firm give you a brief that was half-assed? Like all the time?
Fuck yeah. Like all the time. And their drafting of affidavit material used to make me cringe.
If that law firm came back to you again, would you be like, oh, this like...
No, I wouldn't, because that's where my work would come from.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Yeah.
You'd think about it, but no. The amount of, when I was a barrister, the amount of affidavit material that when you'd read it, you go, you're missing this, where's that? There's no evidence here.
Affidavits.
Oh, yeah.
An affidavit is a legal sworn document? Is that what you would say? Right?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you'd be able to answer. How do I word this? Have you seen affidavits from the other side and you know it's bullshit? Like, yeah. But you know what I mean?
All
like this is supposed to be a legal sworn document. Like how
can they? Because they do. People, oh my God. How dare people lie in court?
But right,
Yeah,
so legal
but they
sworn.
do.
That's what I mean. Like this is supposed to be, and I'm just going. There's no way this happened. Like how can you?
Yeah.
Anyway, okay.
Because you get riled up into it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, emotions. Yeah.
Whereas what I like to do, and I have a lot of fun when I cross-examine things, I actually like to look at it with their affidavit and be able to actually, pull them apart, because it becomes, the people always think the best evidence they can put forward is to just blatantly lie and make themselves look like, they're
angel.
like, yes, exactly. Look at the wings. They're so ethereal. And judges see that shit all the time. They're so bored of it. Like, have you ever looked in a judge's eyes? Do they look excited to be there? They look bored batshit and they're exhausted. And I've noticed that all of my colleagues and have either, it's like all of my colleagues from when of the time I was at the bar have either retired, died, or gone to the bench and then died. But when they go to the bench, they age so quickly because of the amount of stress and stuff of it. And I'm like, you don't get paid enough to do that. Like, seriously, it's intense.
Judges, correct me if I'm wrong. So there's 4 levels of what? Courts, magistrate, supreme, something, and high?
So it depends upon which state you're in. So let's say in Queensland, you've got magistrates, districts, Supreme Court, then you've got Court of Appeal, and then you've got your High Court.
Okay.
And then you've got the Federal Court and the Family Court, which sit off to the side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I heard again, rumor, magistrate judges start off about 300 grand a year. Do you know anything?
The last I heard, so magistrates and I think it was about 350, 400, and then judges were like 450.
High court judges?
I don't know what I've never known what a high court judge is.
Or a lot more?
You would assume that, but be careful because a judge, if they're sitting in, like for instance, if a judge versus a magistrate, um, if you're talking about only an extra $50,000 a year, I'd rather be a magistrate. I
'Cause the
always,
work
I always jokingly say, if I ever grow up and go to the bench, which I won't because it's not as fun, I said I always want to be like Pam Dowse. So Pam Dowse was a magistrate that I used to appear before all the time, and she had so much fun with like little defendants and
Oh,
things
really?
like that. But it's magistrates court. You can't really get too much wrong, you know. So whereas high courts, you've got too much pressure. You've got to do these really long reasons for judgment. That's why they sit there, and when you get a judgment, they give you like a 40 or 50 page version of why, and then they cite all the case law of which everyone just goes, yeah, we know the case law. Like enough. In the old days, they do it all in writing, which is why it takes so long to give them, because they're frightened of being appealed. In the old days, they do it there and then after the trial is finished and do it verbally. Yeah, it was a lot quicker. I preferred court in the old days.
Yep.
It's sad that I'm that old that I can say that, but it was quicker.
Yep.
You could get in and out on court within 6 months, be done and dusted. You could get you could get an interim hearing within 4 weeks.
I had a father talk to me recently, and he said, "Oh, mate, yeah, I'm filing for family court. You know, I reckon I should be done in 12 months." And I just said, "Oh, mate, I'm no lawyer, but I'd hate to burst your bubble. I don't think anything is getting sorted in 12 months."
No, even though the changes to the act were that everything has to be done in 12 months.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
All right. So you did the barrister for 8 years.
Yep.
And then had enough, went back to.
So one of the things about, so what I did was I wanted to have children.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So because a female at the bar, part of being a barrister is you need to be available to receive briefs. And if you've stepped out to have children for a period of time, you're not available, and then people forget that you're around.
Yeah, okay.
So, and plus the intensity of
the workload.
Oh, maybe the alcohol smoking, no, probably wasn't the best. So I swapped back over to being a lawyer. Worked for a law firm as a special counsel for a couple of years, and then due to experiences there, opened my own
law firm.
Yeah, yep. I just thought it couldn't get any crazier with other bosses, so I might as well be my own. And I've gone from there.
Yeah, okay.
Being my own boss, and
And you had kids?
Yeah, I got 2.
Beautiful.
I got
boy,
2.
Girl?
I have 2 girls. My eldest is a transgender female, so she's a rock star. Yeah, they're both awesome. Equally as sarcastic. I love it.
Yeah, how old?
11 and 13.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, 11, 13, going on 30.
Keep you busy?
No, they're pretty good. They're now getting self-sufficient.
Oh, that's good.
So, which is not bad. So
nice.
They can actually start getting themselves around, so I don't have to drive them everywhere anymore.
Yeah, beautiful.
Good. Yeah.
So now you've got your own business, and you've had it for how long now? You've had it for?
I have had my business now for nearly 15 years.
15 years, yep. And for the listeners at home, your business is located at Ferny Grove?
Yeah.
Oh, yep. Okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I technically have 2 law firms. So I have Queensland Family Law Practice, and then I have Forge Legal as well. So which does business and employment law.
Okay.
But we don't focus on that much as heavily.
Okay.
So we just focus on family law and wills and estates. And then I got bored, and I got pissed off with the amount of clients I had to keep turning away, and that legal aid weren't funding, because legal aid don't fund much anymore.
What's the requirement? You have to earn under 15,000 or 30,000?
I actually don't know what it is anymore. It's been, I think you have to, last I knew it was you had to earn under $48,000 a year to be eligible for legal aid, and it couldn't be for property settlement. They did include property settlement at one point, and it can't be necessarily that you're the applicant unless you're trying to get recovery orders and things like that. There's just too many rules and regulations around it, and then you're only limited about what they can represent you on. And the problem is most matters which are legally aided are usually the most complex and the most toxic. So because I don't do legal aid work anymore, it used to cost $30,000 out of my pocket to represent people on legal aid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it would only give you like $160 an hour, and that wouldn't even cover your overheads.
Yeah.
So, and I really didn't like the fact that people were struggling with getting access to the system and things like that, which was why it brought around No Lawyers.
Yeah.
Because I got really passionate about it. And so, yeah, spent out a fortune out of my own pocket to create it,
Good on you.
which was unique. And now that we've got AI, so we were actually about to jump into spending about, I think it was about $8 million to get AI done for the next stage of No Lawyers. But now with all the changes of AI coming in, we don't actually have to spend all that either, and I can do everything. So we're working on stage 2 as it is now, and it's so much fun because ideally, ultimately, it should be that everybody has access to the court system where you don't need to be a lawyer to understand it. So the whole guide is to spoon feed you through it and do it for you in a way that's consumable and easy for the courts to understand. And which is really good, as long as they don't shut down the issues about the use of AI in court.
I don't have my head around AI. I'm not very tech savvy, believe it or not.
You don't need to be tech savvy.
Don't you?
No,
Okay.
you just need to be smart about how you
use it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, let's touch on No Lawyers.
Yep.
So the website you invented, it's what if they want to find nolawyers.com.au? Yep. And it's a platform for people that want to self-represent.
Yeah. So at the moment, the stage 1, which we did to begin with, we've had about I think Alyssa was saying there's about, I think it was about 25,000 people have jumped into the website at the moment. So at the moment, it is designed for those who haven't yet gone into court, but you can negotiate with the other party directly. You can create your property pool, your asset pool. You can make offers between the two of you. And it's also got an abuse tone meter on there, so you can't swear at the other party and call them an arsehole or anything like that. It'll lock you down. And then if you come to an agreement, you can actually print out and create the consent orders ready for filing in court.
Okay.
So that's stage 1. Stage 2 is for when you're in court, where you've got and it'll actually help you write your own affidavit so that it's compliant with the rules of evidence. And so that if you do it, when, say, the lawyer on the other side gets it, they're not going to look and go, okay, this is a pile of shit and none of this is evidence that you can use.
Yep.
So that's the biggest thing that I see where people fall down and self-reps is they write an affidavit like a bitch fest. And they forget that
he did this, he did that.
Yeah. They use words that are vague, and a court can't rely upon vague language. So, for instance, he abused me. Well, what does abuse mean? Yeah. He attacked me. And by attacked, what do you mean?
Yeah.
So, people do all of this, or it's not fair. Well, the courts don't care if it's fair or not. And it's about teaching how to write the affidavit and writing in a way that it's actually going to give the judge evidence that the judge can rely upon to give you the orders that you're seeking, or at least your best chance to. So, because your affidavit is your absolutely golden egg, especially in family court. The reason for that is that's your evidence in chief. So that's your statement. That is your story. That is the only time you get to tell what it is and why the court needs to do what they do. And people don't realize the significance of that sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long has No Lawyers been online for?
Since 2000, 5 years.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. No Lawyers. We've talked about legal aid, women's legal service.
Oh, yeah.
The funding they have, from what I've looked online, seems somewhat crazy. And because I think there's obviously a difference between women's legal service and women's legal aid. Legal aid and women's legal service. So correct me if I'm wrong. If a female puts a DVO, TPO, AVO, whatever on their ex, that's when they entitled to use women's legal service. Is that right?
I actually don't know. No, I don't think so.
Don't have to. So what qualifies for a female to engage women's legal service?
Having a vagina and separating.
Okay, there you go. I thought they could only use them if they put a TPO or DVO and whatever.
I think they might, and I'd have to actually ask one of my employees this. So she used to actually give us some advice on on the Women's Legal Service. They might actually have parameters to rein it in to be the ones who have domestic violence as being the priority, but it's usually they focus on the ones who are hard done by, or who are in safe houses or things like that and require that assistance. Just because with all the funding that they have, they actually rely heavily on lawyers volunteering their time, which is fine, but it's not a really great model, in my opinion. Like, how does that serve the greatest amount of people?
Yeah.
You know, in that type of thing. And I get that it's important to have one that's for women just as much as it's important to have one that is for men, because the system does treat males and females differently.
Yeah. Because I wasn't aware that there was a men's legal service. Recently, a follower said there actually is. And he sent me the link and I was like, oh, there is one. But I think he was saying about the funding for it is
minimal
compared to the funding that's going into women's legal service.
Yeah, but look at what the media says and the media hype around domestic violence.
For me, I know there's genuine DV out there. I know there's genuine DV. I make it clear that Breaking Fathers podcast, I'm not trying to create a divide. Yes, I'm hearing stories from the fathers side of things, but I know that there's genuine DV against women. However, in my opinion, I feel that there's a lot of women using the DV system to gain an advantage, whether it's in the family court to get the kids, to get this. I use the grant. I have these trolls that say it's not a grant, it's an incentive. People understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And I feel it's being manipulated, and I feel like the government is encouraging. There's all these incentives that. And for example, like you get this $5,000 incentive, $1,500 cash on the vouchers, and they can install CCTV systems or whatever. Then there's the I think it's called an uplift now. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you go into family court and you're exposed to DV, you're entitled to more of the property pool.
You always were.
Okay.
It's just codified. What it's codified is a case called Keenan and Keenan, where that case it's an old case where the female was a victim of domestic violence, where she was so badly beaten on a regular basis by the husband, and he prevented her from working and things, that he actually physically damaged her and created a disability that impacted her ability to earn a higher amount of living as a cleaner or a physical activity and things like that. Yep. So the court actually said, all right, she needs an adjustment in her favor because of that.
Okay.
Now, in saying that, this is the first time it's actually being codified and turned into a written law as opposed to case law. In the past, it's always been there, but it's hard to get to that level.
Okay.
So you've got to prove when you're talking about that, you've got to prove that has impacted upon your ability to contribute to the relationship, or maybe psychological harm or damage or things like that. So I'm yet to see whether it's made it easier.
Yeah, okay.
But I'll tell you right now, the amount of prevalence about domestic violence around family law makes it really concerning with the amount of people who just roll over and just accept DVOs. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a few fathers on that say they were given advice, just accepted, and they go, that was the worst thing I ever did because it played a part down the track. And I think, recently I worked in another state on a gig, and on my contract I signed, when I went through my leave entitlements, I had 20 days DV leave. And I was like, and I was like,
that's 10. Should be 10.
Well, I think it must be every state different. I've actually screenshot. I posted on my
it doesn't
platform.
Accumulate, but you get 10 at the beginning of every year.
Well, this was my first year working with them, and I had 20.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know if it's
maybe they gave you an extra.
Yeah, maybe they felt sorry for me. I don't know. But and I just thought, and I said, what do I need to do to take this leave? They said, you don't need to provide evidence. You just say, I need to take time off. I thought 20 days, that's 4 weeks. If you're working Monday and Friday, I feel like you're giving people incentives, like, oh, Christmas is coming up. What leave do I have here? And it's just, you know what I mean? Like, you don't need to provide anything. And
as an employer, of a small business.
Well, do you have that? Do you have to give that? Do you have that?
we all do.
there you
It's
go.
by law.
Okay, there you go.
It's by law, and it's not 20, it's 10. And it's different to the others that it resets at the beginning of every year. Automatically, the person has 10 days.
I don't know why at 20.
I don't know.
What does an employee would have to do to take that leave?
Basically, yeah.
Just
so
say-
here's the problem is if they're exposed to it, if they have psychological harm because of it, all of that, that is the basis upon which they could take it. You could ask for, as an employer, some form of evidence, but you'd want to be really careful about how you want to navigate that to make sure that they aren't taking the piss. Because no, it's not like employees don't ever take the piss and use the leave that they're not entitled to, right?
Yeah.
So I look, from a business owner, I sit there and I think, well, when is the government going to put their hand in their pocket and actually back up the small businesses that have got to fork this out?
Because you have to pay it, right?
Yeah, we have to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Plus with the super increase, because everyone always talks about their wages and then they go, oh, it's that plus super. And you go, well, fuck off.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that money. You're getting that money.
Yeah.
It's included. But again, it all comes out like we're talking about business now, but yeah. So with DV, it's a fine line. But for those people who are suffering domestic violence, I get it. I get that they need that support and all of that. And personal leave is probably not going to be enough to cover the amount of leave that they need to take off because they've got to flee and they've got to flee really quickly sometimes. So I get it. I get it comes from a good place. I just don't think society as a whole actually focuses on the main issue of how domestic violence originates. All they do is go, let's put this in law and make this illegal. And all you ever hear in the media is it's a gender issue. It's men are the bad people, women are the victims. And that's fucking bullshit. Sorry, it's just, you want to hear my rant on this?
Let's go.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
You will hear my rant on this. And in fact, I did a speech, I can't remember how many years ago, to a bunch of females, mainly females, about domestic violence and about how women abuse the domestic violence system against men. And I thought I did quite well. But considering there was about, 1,500 to 2,000 women, let's just say like very pro females with domestic violence. And I remember sitting down to have lunch and this woman came up to me and she said, "You're a great speaker. You're a great orator. If only you'd used your skills for good and not evil." But then I also had a commissioner come up to me and turned around and said, "Thank you very much for speaking about that." Because
the police
it is
commissioner?
True. Yes.
Thank you.
Because it is true and it happens all the time. And I just said, well, I'm just calling the shit. And I was explaining to people how easy it is to get a domestic violence order.
Thank you.
I haven't seen it as much these days. Like it's slowed down, which is good to know, but it's very much there. What's the easiest way to keep the other side of them? Get an order that says you can't come anywhere near me.
Put the kids' names on.
Put the kids' name on it. Good fucking luck coming near those kids.
That's right. And then
what do I do?
Breach prison.
Yep. Oh, the breaches are huge.
I didn't know how bad. Well, my dad's.
When she messages you, I love this one as a good one. Talk to me. I missed you. Come back, please. And he goes, okay, all right.
Locked
and then
up.
Bam, there's a breach. And he goes, but she asked me to.
Entrapment, right?
Yeah.
Is that entrapment?
Yep, but who cares though?
I know. And if I was a police officer, I know that I'll be like, hold on a sec. Aren't you scared of this monster? Aren't you scared for life? Why are you messaging him in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
And, I've said this so many times. My dad's a 30-year correctional officer, still working. I've worked with ex-cops and guys in all different departments. And
there's
I say,
a lot of people
in prison for sending a message. And I would think, shit, did you message the Prime Minister and say you're going to blow up his house? His house? No, I just replied to my ex saying, yep, I'm free this weekend. I'm like, and you're in prison?
In years ago, I won't say the old days because otherwise I feel like a broken record. When you got breached for DV, it was a rule of 3 strikes and you're in jail. but the breaches used to have to be significant.
Yeah.
Right. I get it. And now you're hearing the flavor words these days is coercive control, narcissistic abuse. The amount of times I hear someone go, you're a narcissist. Oh, gaslighting's the other one.
Yep, gaslighting.
You can't have an argument unless it's deemed gaslighting or a narcissist. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Narcissism is around. It's a real thing. But the people who are uttering the words narcissism don't actually know what a narcissist is. Coercive control is just another word for intimidation, harassment, which was already there under the Domestic Violence Act anyway. That's already domestic violence. So it's just now got a title. And gaslighting is, I get true gaslighting is making you believe you're the cause of, why somebody has done something like, you made me hit you, that type of thing. Gaslighting is not stop being a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Right? Like then they go, you coercive control, DVB, or economic abuse now is such a dangerous little territory because what happens if you've got a partner who's sitting there with a credit card and gone, I've just gone to Louis Vuitton and I bought out half of the store and now we don't have any money to pay our mortgage. And the other partner goes, you need to stop. All right, that's economic abuse. You're like, where is the line with that?
Yeah.
Because I had a client who got a domestic violence order against him because they were really tight with their money. And she said, I want to stop here to get avocado on toast, the good old avocado. And he said, no, you can do that at home.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Get avocado at home.
Welcome to the DVO.
Yeah. Controlling me.
Isn't it bullshit? Like, at what point do we go pull your head in? And then here's where my other rant is. Domestic violence is not a gender issue. Despite what the media say, it's fucking not. If it was, you wouldn't have domestic violence in same-sex relationships, of which is rampant.
I think lesbians hold the highest rate for DV stats in Australia. Don't quote me, but that's what I've seen.
But domestic violence is not a gender issue; it's a power issue. It's a power. It is an issue with self-regulation, right? And men, and this is okay. All right, I'm just trying to phrase this in a way that doesn't make me really go off. Men, when they commit domestic violence, it's very upfront, in your face. You're a fucking bitch. Fucking hate you. Get out of my face. Or if they're going to get more physical aggressive, because men are more stronger. They when they are exhibiting domestic violence, it's going to be more harmful.
Yep.
Right. Normally, women, however, are absolute masters of domestic violence because they are covert. They are subtle. They do the let's creep around in the shadows, right? And I know I'm a woman. I know how much of an absolute bitch I can be.
Yeah.
Like I can be nasty as fuck if I want to be. And what you do is you turn around, and women though, they use the children. They use the children as the pawns, the little twisting around. They're the ones who are gonna jump into your phones and go, "Oh, superstar, welcome to the stalking," right? They're the ones who women are actually really, really good at gaslighting, really, really good, and guys just go, don't, because guys don't understand subtlety. You guys are you're like a lump of 4B2, and so when a woman does it, it's very subdued. But when a woman blows, she absolutely goes absolutely erratic and irrational when when her pot goes. I have seen women hit men, and this is where I get really pissed off with the whole narrative. I see women hit men all the time. And what does society do? Look at all the movies about when a female slaps a man in a movie. Everyone's like, oh, so he cheated. Oh, she deserved to slap him. Okay. He said something you know.
Well, what
to
did he
her.
do for her to get to that stage?
Yeah,
You know?
that's another one.
Another one.
Yeah, what did he do that caused her to get to
poor
there,
her,
right?
bottled up.
But you look at all the movies, look at all the history, perfectly okay for a female to slap a man. And do you know what they say to the man? Suck it up. Suck it up, mate. Don't be a pussy. Oh, you can handle it. What? Oh, you got beaten by a little girl, right?
Yeah.
That's what. When you flip it on the reverse, look at all the movies. A man slaps a woman. It's like, oh my God, did you see him do that? Like, there's I saw this thing on Facebook. This
social experiment?
I don't know what it was, but a friend of mine posted it. I looked at it and I gasped. And he had to take it down really quickly because somebody said that is not appropriate if you put it. And all he did was put forward a video. It was a clip. And what it was, there was a guy and a girl
out in public
at a park,
a social experiment, and they were a couple, but they were pushing each other around on purpose to see what type of engagement they get from.
No, this was worse than that. No, they were at a pub. This woman was coming up to this guy and pushing him, and he was a big, really
burly
tall,
man.
big, he was a BFG, big friendly guy, giant type thing. And she walked up to him and fully just whack straight across his face, right? Like fully, like she put all her weight behind it. And obviously because he was solid, it didn't get him as much. And he whacked her back and she went straight flying across the pub. Now, everybody turned around, like the comments, and I won't say everybody, but the comments on there was, oh, how dare he? He's bigger than her. I'm like, are you sorry?
Did you miss that first
Stop.
part?
None of this is okay. I say, so like I am not team men, I'm not team women. I'm team keep your fucking hands to yourselves. And if you lay your hand on somebody, then that's domestic violence. But and the thing that gets me is with the stats of where we say, oh, women are the biggest perpetrators. Get it. I get for physical violence, yes, because men don't report it.
Yep.
And men don't report it because otherwise you're emasculated. Because imagine when you go into court, and I've seen judges do this, magistrates do this all the time, and I've heard it, where they turn around and say, you seriously telling me that little 5 foot nothing girl committed domestic violence on you? Look at you. And I'm like, how is that fucking relevant?
Yeah, that's right.
So you're telling me that it's open slather if you're well built and just because you're taller, and I've got male friends who are really tall, and we were talking about this about so I'm part of a group where when we walk up, everybody hugs. We're just huggers. It's just what we do. And then like we have to be very careful about it because younger females will be like, oh, they're bullying. Oh, it's intimidation. And they literally have to dull their shine in order to not feel overtly threatening. This is all messed up. As opposed to just keep your hands off yourselves. And men should be able to feel comfortable and safe enough to go, I don't want to be hit. I don't care if I can cop it. I don't want to be hit. This is my personal space. Back the fuck off. And they should be able to have society backs up and goes, yes, you're right. It's not always about size. Because I've also seen, I've had clients, and it's not just one, I've had a few, where the female will jump on the guy in the middle of the night and hold a knife to his throat. Certain cultures are more prevalent. The females are certain there, but and it's like she literally was holding and then or stabbing him.
Yep.
And then I go, did you report it to police? No.
Yep.
You know, again, ex-vet.
Yep.
No, that's a woman.
I don't know if you've seen the footage, but there's footage of me that my ex belted me outside a restaurant. I had my hands up and trying to get away. They counted 7 times. She jumped on me, kicked and punched me. Same through the Uber, threatening to kill me. You'll never see your daughter again. And Coomera police were all over it. Coomera police were charging her, and then they brought it to service police, and then because that's where she was living, and it just it disappeared. Now
you can't force them to do it, but you can report it to the officer in charge.
So we went to DV trial, and I appealed my TPO. So she kept pushing it.
Yep.
They played the footage, and she consented to the one I put on her. Consented, I think.
Yep.
So yep.
Consent without admissions or just consent.
Yep. But I was trying to push hard on mine. So One of the things was financial control. Now I went in, I had a female judge, and I just sort of,
Yeah.
I was on ruin, but my boss, and she was in the safe room. Well, she was
Yeah,
always in
yeah.
the safe room.
Yep.
Anyway, financial control came up. Now I bought her a Mazda CX-5 outright, $35,000 for her.
Yep.
Bought her a jet ski. I know. I'll make my own bed. When we broke up, I paid 12-month lease up front for her.
Yep.
So fully furnished, because she was from England, and I was like, well, I'm not going to leave you stranded. I'm going to pay for this thing.
Yep.
And she's saying he financially controlled me, the car, this. And the judge just said, hold on. So he paid the lease up front for 12 months?
Yeah. How's that financial
She
control?
goes, that's not funny. That's called being generous.
Yeah.
He's paid a car outright for you.
If you were my client, I would turn around and say, don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I made my own bed. But anyway. But it's you just was trying everything and anything, control this, control. And I was just like, yeah. So, they made the decision. I won. She threw it out,
Yeah,
dismissed,
good.
whatever it's called. Yeah. But then she put another one on me 2 months later.
Yeah.
Because I rung the childcare centre. So we had learnt through legal correspondence that she gained employment at the childcare centre where my daughter was.
Yeah.
Great. My child support goes down.
Yeah.
So when I called, my daughter was high-level autistic, sensory processing daughter and speech delay. So I would ring the manager, supervisor, to ask for behavioural reports,
Yeah.
And I said, oh, hey, can you just not let my ex know that I called? I do have a DVO in place, just letting you know. I'm just here to get the reports. So she told my ex that I called. She went to whoever, the police, whatever, and said that I called the childcare centre to inform them that I have DV. I know, to try and get her fired, and that's a form of DV. And I'm just sitting there going, my child support just why would I want to get her fired? My child support just went down. She's never worked anyway. So
amazing, isn't it?
yeah, I think the whole DV system needs reform, and by that I mean it's so easy to go. A father could wake up one day, kiss their kids goodbye, say goodbye. They finish work, they come home, DVO, you can't in the house, can't see the kids, and you're just like, hold on a second, what just happened? And like, there needs to be, like, for me, and I don't know how the cops work, but if someone comes and says there's I want to DV them, hey, is there evidence? Do you have anything in place? Like, because it's so easy
the problem
to
is, and this is the big issue with DV, because if it is happening, right? Yes, absolutely, this is a thing. The problem I've got is it's really difficult to get costs in DV, which makes people accountable, right? Or if and how many people perjure themselves? So for the question about perjury,
perjury, here we go.
Yeah, a lot, absolutely a lot. Technically, could they be jailed for perjury? Because perjury is what we call contempt of court.
Pause you there, because I was saying to people we should bring perjury back. Someone's like, perjury is actually in place. They just don't use it. They don't implement it.
Not in family court, not in DV. So here's the thing about it, right? But if you do it in criminal courts,
you get it.
If you do it in civil,
gone.
Costs, orders, fines.
So why is it they don't do it in family? What's the go? What's
family
driving
court's
it?
known as what we call the kangaroo court, which means, well,
I
think
have
of it
heard
when
this.
they order costs against people for not complying with time restraints and rules. How often have you actually seen the court order a cost? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but there is no consistency of enforcement, which means, and the amount of times, and I will nearly fire lawyers if they don't comply with really time limits, because I've had it before where a senior lawyer turned and said, oh, yeah, she'll be right. I'll just file it later. And I'm like, not my fucking firm, you won't. Because you get the wrong judge, they're not going to let you go through. They're going to issue a costs, and then I've got to pay these fees, and hell will break loose. So sometimes they'll issue costs against you. Other times they won't. It's the same with perjury. I've never seen anybody be put in jail for perjury in family court ever. And yet the amount of times I have proven that people have blatantly lied on affidavit material, blatantly lied. It's huge. But they won't, and they don't. Why?
So,
I don't. They just, it's like a toothless tiger in a lot of ways.
But how will we put this problem to bed with everyone lying on affidavits, etc.? If let's just say if a judge said, hey, you've been condemned to send you to prison, wouldn't they be like, everyone be like, oh shit, I better not be doing that? Because
well, they do talk about it, and it depends on your judge, right? There are some judges who will throw people in jail for different things. They're not the nicest judges around sometimes, but one of my favorite judges who will not back down in that regard is Judge Bowman. Whether you like his decision or not, it's always very balanced, but he has no problems in putting people in jail. He has no problems in removing children from toxic households where there's alienation and all of that stuff.
How do you spell his surname?
Baummman or
Yep.
Mann, something like that.
And
Yep.
do you think he's fair?
I like Bowman. Yes, I do. I've been before him many, many times. There are others that do I think are fair? No, absolutely I don't. There is one judge I won't name who is very aggressive, very abusive to lawyers.
I've heard a story about this.
And has a reputation of, if you're a female before him, that
really?
you won't have a stronger case. I know different colleagues have actually commented about making complaints about the type of behavior and stuff. I don't know if that's gone any further. But as such, when I know I'm before this judge, I make sure that I actually pull on a male barrister.
Yeah, okay.
To try and offset all of that because it's safer.
Yeah.
But those are important for the ones to turn around and actually say, yeah, let's go. Because, you've got Division 1, Division 2, right, in family court. When you're in Division 1.
What's the difference again?
So in the old days, it was the Federal Magistrates Court and the Family Court. Then it changed to the Federal Circuit Court and the Family Court. Now they just call it Div 1, Div 2. Same shit, different name. I don't know why they keep changing around. It's annoying. But when you get up into the higher division, that's like into Division 1, you're before judges who have less trials on their docket. They take everything a little bit more seriously. And when you're in there, you're not going to get away with as much as you do in Division 2. So, and that they're far more strict and stern and that type of thing. And that's good because that's where they've got the far more serious things. That's where the effort list is and where it's complex property settlements and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I prefer when we're dealing with matters, I prefer when we're up there because you get a thorough understanding of what's going on with your matter. In Div 2, it's like a cattle yard, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, there's so many coming through. They're just trying to process them. And a lot of the tools that the judges tend to implement, some of them, is to scare the life out of you to try and get you to settle.
One thing I noticed, and I thought it was a red flag, was, my legal team were like, oh, let's just wait to see what judge you get because depending on what judge you get, we will depend on how we play it.
Yep.
And I thought, well, it shouldn't really fucking matter what judge we get, right?
No,
it should
bullshit.
just be.
They're completely different.
Yeah, but it should just be, doesn't matter if you get a guy, girl, black, white, it should just be.
Not one judge runs the same way. Not one judge. So, for instance, if you turn up on the day, you have to go, okay, which judge it is? Because some of them, some of them will do a call over to begin with. So they go, bring everybody in to begin with. Let me get an idea of where your matters are. Do all the simple things first to move them on. Others go, nah, I'm just running this step by step by step. Everybody has different ways they want to run their court. And it's frustrating because then you've got to try and remember, how does this judge do it? If I haven't been before this judge for so long, and then you get a new judge come in and you go, okay, well, now I have no fucking clue because this one's new and they might be pulling other things out. So, and some focus on, they'll focus really heavily on the family report. Others won't. Like the child impact reports.
The child impact report to the family report writer, are they two different things?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw the family report writer twice. I didn't see a child impact report person.
So which is fine because you don't need to have them.
What's the difference?
So the child impact report, if there are issues about dispute about abuse or whatever, when they're first there, the judge might actually send you off for a child impact report, which is just you're going to speak to this guy for like 15, 20 minutes or whatever, or a person. And they're going to speak to each of the parties, maybe see the kids. So as they write this really tiny little Cliff Notes version of a family report to say, here are the issues that are going on. Preliminary, this is what I think.
Yeah.
That's all it is, but it doesn't dive really heavily into it. A family report, at least they give you a solid day. Ooh.
Yeah.
Because that can help them get down to the real heart of the matter, isn't it?
Yeah. with Michael, I had I did everything in court arts, did all the courses, and got the ICO on our side. One thing that I didn't go against me was the family report writer.
Mm.
I'll tell you her name offline. From the get go, I think she was a feminist, and she, again, this was before DV trial happened, so it was all based off the DV allegations, you
Oh,
know. So
yeah.
she just sided with my ex. That's the only thing that went against me during the 3 years. And the judge at the time said, I remember him saying, actually said, I know what the family report says, but it doesn't mean I'm going to go with what she says.
Yeah.
Because the family report writer said, I recommend the child goes back to England.
Yeah.
And the family report writer
Well,
said,
that's a bit cool.
yeah. And he said, he goes, that's not her call. That's her opinion, but that's not her call to make. I
It is
remember him
not her
saying,
call.
yeah,
mate.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And with some of the more stern judges, they'll turn around and say, I can choose to be guided by the family report, or I can ignore it
Yeah.
completely. And I've actually had a judge turn around and take a family report and gone, I see how they've gone from Earth to Venus and ended up on friggin' Mars on
Yeah,
her
yeah, yeah.
logic. Not a chance. Threw it out and
Oh,
said
good.
no. And ended up with the children all coming to my client.
That's good for listeners, viewers to know, because, you know,
Yeah. It really.
I thought, well, the family report writer happens and that's it, you know.
No. Look, and a lot of lawyers tend to run that way, but it's a silly way to run. If you do have a family report that goes against you and you're going, but that's not true, that's not right, that's okay. The way you cross-examine a family report writer is you don't challenge them and say, hey, you're a wanker, even though you think so. Inside voice, keep it there. What you do is you ask questions that you know that you can prove in the affidavits or in cross-examine of mum. And usually mum and dad get cross-examined first before the family report writer. They usually prefer it that way. And then what you do is you put it to the family report writer, things like you say, now I see your report is here and you've got this recommendation of this. If the circumstances were blah and propose a different scenario, would your position still be the same? So you're given an opportunity to be able to flip their opinion. And by doing that, because they haven't seen or heard the cross-examination, but by doing that, they will actually retract their statements.
Yep.
Because if you target them, like their reputation or them professionally, all they're going to do is bunker down and you're going to get nowhere. It's a stupid way to cross-examine. But when you do proposals or different scenarios to them, which you know you can pull out of the evidence, then you give the judge something to hold their hat on to go, okay, well, I've heard that. And they said, but if this was the case, they'd do this recommendation. I actually like that. That supports the evidence that's before me.
Yeah.
So it's okay if a family report comes completely against you, as long as you've got evidence to be able to flip them.
I used government court-appointed family report writer.
Yep.
Looking back now, I think I should have gone a private one. What do
No.
you don't care?
No, because the private ones are the ones who the family court use anyway.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Some use it, some don't. So
what?
And now they're getting ridiculously expensive.
I had some to 12 grand.
20 grand.
Oh, see,
20. And I said, what the fuck? Say no.
See what I mean? Like it's
That's insane. And then they go, you pay half. And people going, but I can't pay my rent. How am I going to pay half of this? This is insane.
What I thought was unfair was the first time I saw the family report writer, my ex went first. So, you know, saw her with my daughter for 30 minutes and spoke to her for an hour and a half. Then I went second, same procedure. Now, that hour and a half, I just spent the whole hour and a half answering her allegations.
Yeah.
Right? So the second time we went, I would have thought, well, to be fair, wouldn't I go first? No. And it was always that, I need to feed our daughter at this time, so I need to go first. You know, that's what she told the.
Yeah.
And she said, oh, well, we need to come. And again, biological advantages. You're using, we've got to breastfeed every 2 hours. And blah. She didn't. But, you know. So the second time I went, I would just spend an hour and a half answering. And I couldn't tell my story, couldn't do this. And so family report writers, okay. ICLs. The one I had.
I'm actually trained as an ICL. I don't
I'll
work
be careful
as an
what
ICL.
I say.
But yeah, go.
I found that my ICL, who got CC'd and everything, was lazy because during that time, she were going, hey, she's breaching court orders.
Yep.
And it was just like, hi, my ex's name. We'll say her name's Wendy. Hi, Wendy. I just need to remind you that there's a court order in place. But like, that's it. Like, come on. Like,
Yep.
are you going to do anything more?
No.
Like, and it was just, yeah. And then, you know, that went, I just felt like, I don't know. What?
Okay,
I,
so
I
what's
see us,
what's
yeah.
the truth, right? Of course.
Do they have powers? They got a fair bit of weight, don't they?
No. Yes, but no.
Okay.
Right? So this is people forget this. The ICL does not represent you.
Child.
They do not represent mum. They represent the child. They do not have to push forward an argument for you. And the amount of work that they want to do is purely up to them. Remembering they are funded from legal aid with the same shitty rates that are around. They might get a little bit more for reading more documents, but you only become an ICL because you want to do good for society. There are some really great ICLs out there. They're really proactive, but there are also some really, really lazy, and I call them lazy, ICLs who you have to keep going, are you going to do your job? Like blah, blah, blah. And they don't. Sometimes they won't have basically looked at anything until they turn up to court on the
morning.
Yep. Happens. Yes, it's an ongoing thing. Is it going to change? Good fucking luck. No. You have to, the way I deal with ICLs is I run the matter as though they don't exist. So I continue to run it. And if an ICL says, oh, well, I'm against you on that, I turn around and go, well, I don't fucking care what you want. We are running this matter. It just means the beautiful part, it's the double-edged sword is this. When you go into court, you may have an ICL that's on your side that helps support you for an argument for a judge, or you're going to have to argue against two people as opposed to one. Either way, you're still running an argument. So it doesn't matter. I've had plenty of matters where I've been against both the ICL and the other side and been successful. Okay. So I couldn't care less. And when when a judge looks to them to be independent, but if your argument is really succinct, coherent, plausible, reasonable, and well-founded, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what an ICL's got to say.
Yeah. Family court writers, ICLs, legal aid, women's legal service, judges, prosecutors. Prosecutors are police, right? QPS.
Yeah, that's police.
They just come in and read reports. If the judge goes, can you pull up a report or something?
They have the QP9s and stuff like that. Some prosecutors are really cool. So because there's if you're in the mags court, then your prosecutors are just police prosecutors. So if you get along with them, you can have a lot of fun. Sorry, I say that from a lawyer / barrister where I was in the magistrate's court doing duty lawyering for 3 years every Monday and Wednesday. So I got to know the prosecutor and the magistrate really, really well. So we used to have a bit of a chuckle about some of the matters that would come into the court and the things that the magistrate would make them do.
I question, and Southport Courthouse across there's a cafe, and I'd go there some mornings, and
Oh yeah, I know it.
Yeah, and I'm sitting there with the legal team, and like all the different legal teams, and everyone's talking pretty openly, like, remember so and so, like, yeah, I'm representing him, and I'm just thinking, is this normal? Like,
yeah,
I'm sure there's stuff that goes on behind. I'm not going to ask you, but construction industry, I have no doubt there's stuff that goes on behind doors. I'm sure the court industry, there's stuff that happens.
No, well, we'll be really frank about how lawyers talk. So I make it really clear with my team, so my lawyers, that there is no such thing as off the record with another lawyer. Because anything you say to them, they can actually pull up and use as evidence. And if you deny you've said it and you've found to have lied, you're going to get struck off, right? So bad. But you can have off-the-cuff conversations where you turn around and say, especially in mediation, this happens, just word to the wise, when the lawyers go out and have a bit of a chat, one will concede, yeah, my client's the difficult one. Oh, okay. Sorry about that, mate. Yeah, I get it. But but strategically, you can do it in a way as well. So I've done it before where they're like, Tracey, you're going to get them to come around. I go, yeah, I get it. My client's difficult. My client's the problem. He ain't fucking going to move. He is ready to watch her burn. So here's the offer. I've got instructions. He ain't going to budge. My client turned around and was like, oh, no, I'm happy to give her this. I'm like, no, you're not. Let's just sit there for a moment because I know exactly what's going to play out here. And that's just strategic to be able to get them to where you want to go. But sometimes we have those conversations. But I've had a matter before where I had a bet with the other side, bet with the other lawyer that we would win. And my client went, oh, and I told my client that we had a bet. And they're like, how dare you have a bet on me? I said, I'm betting on you because I actually believe in you that much. And I won. And I got a bottle of Concho from it. Thank you very
beautiful.
much.
Very good.
Yes. Yeah. So we do different things like that. But we don't, and hands down, we don't actually discuss our clients. So we don't discuss the matter or anything. And if we did,
you get caught out, it'd be bad.
Yeah, you get struck off. So there really is very little wiggle room with lawyers in terms of that. That's confidential. And usually the fact that you are a client is confidential in itself. So when we have it where people will call up from both sides, will call up wanting representation, and it's the person who gets in first we can represent. And then the second one, we can't even say, sorry, we can't represent you because we've got the other side. All we have to say is, oh, sorry, we have no more. We're not taking on any more clients at the moment.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
With the before every DV matter, my barrister would go and speak. So she was using barristers from the Women's Legal Service, and he would, because we had all the evidence and she just had hearsay allegations. My barrister would speak to her barrister.
Yep.
And to say, hey, listen, like, do you really want to go ahead? Like, and
that's negotiation.
And she was like, no, we're gonna keep seeing. And my ex had nothing to lose because she's been represented for pro bono, whatever you want to call it. And I was awarded costs for my one because what I think, correct me if I'm wrong, procedural fairness. So what happened was she didn't go to the cops or the law firm. She went to the DV registry office downstairs that day.
And did her own application.
Did her own application. Said she was in life. Her life was in danger that day, and got it stamped off by Judge Dooley. Yeah. And then what I didn't realize was after I'd paid the 12 months rent, $42,500 to the real estate agent, all in her name, I paid for it. She used that TPO to take to the real estate agent to legally break the lease.
The lease, yep.
And he transferred her 35 out of the 42 back to her savings account.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I was awarded costs, and I thought, you beauty, but the way it worked was it was only from when I won the appeal to this point. It wasn't like the cost for the whole journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then obviously it took about 8 months to get that money back. And the law firm had to prove the invoices that I paid just to prove, then they had to take a bit of chunk from that time. I was just like,
yeah.
But it was because I wasn't like when she went to the registry office that day, like police didn't contact me. I wasn't given procedural fairness. It was just stamped off that day and no one told me about it type thing. So I think that's how it happened. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's normal.
Normal. Okay.
Yeah. That absolutely is normal. It's just, but it has no bearing or weight until you've been served with it.
Okay.
Yeah. And I understand why that's there, because if somebody needs immediate protection.
Yeah. Do you feel like, the way I see it, I call it an ass covering task. And by that, I mean,
massive.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So like if someone goes to the police are like, well, I'm just going to cover my ass because what if something does happen? And I feel like Judge Dooley that day, you know what if someone does get burned in the car? I'm just going to stamp it off because at least my ass is covered, because if I don't stamp it off and something does happen, it's going to fall back on me.
And look, they've had a lot of training on domestic violence. So it's been really drilled into the judges and stuff about domestic violence and all of that.
Yeah.
Remembering from the guise of gender issue. So for a judge in that situation, it is erring on the side of caution until the evidence, because it's only temporary and it's until the evidence can be tested. So it is much better for them to err on the side of caution.
Is it err on the side of caution? Am I pronouncing err on the side? Yeah. But do you think that's a tactic that's a system avenue people are using? Because let's just say child abuse allegations, righto, I need to err on the side of caution, right? Because even though there's no evidence, it's an allegation of child abuse, and fair play. If anyone's child is allegation, you should take it seriously. But unfortunately, I believe there's people that are using that system to go, this is going to sink them, this is going to put them in mud.
The allegations that are thrown around DV and family court is child abuse.
Yep.
Literally, the judges basically just roll their eyes unless there's because it is alleged so often. The other one is physical abuse.
Yep.
So of mum or child, so DV, and the other one is drug or alcohol abuse.
Oh, I'm glad you remind me of that. Yep.
Drug or alcohol abuse, right? So they throw them around, and if you're not smart enough to actually preempt what's going to come at you, then the first time you walk into a court, there's no evidence to disprove her. This is not criminal court. It is not innocent until proven guilty. It is you are guilty until there is evidence to actually suggest that she's either lying or that you're clean. So for
Hair
me,
follicle test. Off you go.
yeah. So here is what I always say. So here's the two things that I always do with clients. Oh, and also, so anger management. So if she alleges that you're physically violent, go into an anger management course. Just straight away go and get it done. And if you go, but I'm not angry, go, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't happen, because you go in there and you can put in your affidavit going, I believe that she would argue that. So I thought, well, it couldn't hurt. Why not implement and find out some more tools? Look at my self-growth. Look at me, Your Honor. How amazing. Alcohol. Go and get a CDT test.
What's that stand for?
I
haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, CDT tests. I don't know. It's a technical thing. What that is a test that actually tests your alcohol. So it's not a breathalyzer. It's not instantaneous. It's over a period of time. It actually tests your liver, and it tests whether your alcohol levels that you've been consuming hold your body at a normal rate, or if they're higher. So that's a test that we push for.
Similar to hand follicle doing drugs, is the same for that doing alcohol. The last
So it's about $350 for that test, and the hair follicle is about $350, $450. And the hair follicle test, you with the hair follicle test, you can go back as long as your hair length, as long as it hasn't been bleached. And by the way, if they turn up bald, that's fine. You can still get a hair follicle test done from your pubes.
Oh, well, see, I'm always like this, right?
Yeah.
Number one, so the judge, ordered the thing, and my barrister said, he's, got to shave there. He goes, so he put a quarter, and I couldn't shave until, couldn't bleach your hair.
Couldn't shave, can't bleach your hair because you don't want it to impact on it.
Did the hair follicle test. Now, I don't know if it's, when your clients are up your north side of Brisbane, they have to do a hair follicle test. What's the closest, where do they send them to?
No, it's either QML or Sutherland Nicolodi's.
Okay, so down here, I got sent to, I don't know if it's a district thing. We got sent to one on the Gold Coast, right? The court appointed one or favoured one that the courts use.
No, there's plenty around, but not every QML or Sutherland Nicolodi's do it. So it'll be wherever that location is.
Well, the one I went to, and from what I know, is the one that sort of everyone gets sent to here in Gold Coast. I've rocked up. It's a normal suburban street. I run my lawyer, said, if you send me the wrong address, he goes, no, it's the right address. I said, it can't be. I'm outside someone's house. He's like, yeah, that's the house. You knock on it. Yeah, I'm no joke. I'm going to do I'm going to do content on it. Yeah, no joke. I've been there twice. In the garage. Yep, come in, sliding door. And
I can just hear the story now. How I was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, right. And I'm thinking, right. So anyway, I did the hair follicle test. I had to grab my hair out, snip.
Yep.
And, I was working emergency response at the time, so I have to be clean shaven because we have to put masks on, breathing apparatus mask. So I grab my hair out, get the test done. Yep, all pass. New affidavit. He imports shampoo from Jamaica, which detoxes the hair.
That's not how it works.
This is what I'm sure you know. This is what I'm dealing with. There's always an excuse. As shitty as excuses,
a judge would just sit there and go, "Where's a judge in those circumstances? What you do is you turn around and say, Your Honor, where is the evidence of that? Sorry, but this is just nonsense." Or you go back to QML or wherever you got it from and actually ask their experts to actually give evidence about it. So, and then you get them to do an affidavit. I've pulled in the experts from QML a few times for it, but so it was the DV, it's the anger management, it's the alcohol, and if you are having issues with alcohol as well, so let's talk about, for instance, if you are, because you're going through separation, I get it. Like I get it's a coping mechanism. It's a tool. It's a legitimate tool to use to try and calm, to slow your brain. The key about it, don't lie about it. Own it. Like fall on your sword. If you turn around and lie to a judge and then it is found out on tests that you are an alcoholic, well, your credibility is shot. You look like a twat. But if you own it before she's even alleged it in your affidavit, the judge goes, but you can't just own it and keep drinking.
Yeah.
You've got to own it, have an epiphany. Oh, I've seen the error of my ways. Look, the light's shining. And you either get yourself into drug rehabilitation, you get yourself into drug and alcohol counseling, AA, you show you are making steps to change.
Yeah.
Right? If you do that, at the end of the day, and that's same with drugs, absolutely same with drugs. So if you think she's going to allege drugs, go and get a drug test. So the hair follicle. But if you know it's going to come up, and I'm not going to, I'll say something in a minute. I'm not supporting drug use. However, if you're doing drugs, pick the right drug, understand how long it's in your system. Ironically, marijuana, cannabis stays in your system the longest. So it can stay in your system for up to about a month, 6 weeks.
Do you have to be a frequent user or is that a one-off?
Depends.
Yeah, someone's saying it's a one-off.
If it's a one-off, it'll probably fall out of your system pretty quickly. But it depends upon how quickly it metabolizes in your system. Things like MDMA are in your system for like 3 days. The heavier drugs, so like heroin, ice, all of those, so the really heavy ones, usually only have a lifespan of about 3 days before they're out of your system. So they're harder to catch you.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're a persistent marijuana user, and these days I find it ironic that anybody would be doing marijuana illegally, considering you can get a script.
Prescription,
and I've got a script.
Yeah, I've got a script for weed gummies now. They're amazing before bed,
Yeah. I don't use them, but yeah, so these days it's a little bit more accepted, but it's also fall on your sword, acknowledge what you're doing, and if you can acknowledge it before she does, you take the wind out of the sails. She no longer has that weapon.
Yeah, I get you.
And then you move forward with all of the additional things that you can do.
I did it the next time. I did another hair follicle test, but I did it off my own accord because I just need the thing.
I would always do them before. If you know you're separating and you know it's going to end up in court, go and get them preemptively.
Yeah,
I always do that for clients. Get it and attach it.
That place I went to is called Psychmedics, Superior Science, Superior Results, the worldwide leader in hair drug testing.
There you go.
But that's the place I went to. In a house.
And
I'm not bagging the place out. I just thought, well.
I mean, it might just be their office, which is just.
It was in a garage. I was like, okay, this is what they want to call on it.
Does make you feel a little concerned.
It does. But why is it, correct me if I'm wrong, you would have heard it before. I did the triple P.
Parenting course.
Yep, circular security, the hair follicle test. I then went out to do the men's behavioral program course, and my legal team said, be careful doing this because my ex is trying to get you. They would try and use that course against me because it's like an admission of aggressive behavior or something. Or like
so if you're talking about anger management, if you go to do it, people will go, see, you wouldn't have had to do that course if you didn't acknowledge your anger. Unless you say, well, Your Honor, everybody has issues and they have tools. I didn't do it because I have anger management. I did it because I believe she might use it as a tool. And I thought, wow, you know what? That's just more tools for my book, for my kit, for regulation, because that's what it teaches you. It teaches about self-regulation.
Well, that's what we said in reply. We said, because I just said, if this is a hurdle, another hurdle, something for my daughter, I'll do it. But he said, well, let's just do it this way. So we said, because they said, because I have PTSD, they'll focus in on that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, see?
That's what we spoke about earlier, wasn't
it? By no means is this an admission of guilt to DV. He's doing the course because he wants to see his daughter and PTSD, but so yes, I did it. But why is it, and I might be wrong, why is it the mother or my ex didn't have to do any of these courses? Why didn't she have to do circular security?
Because you walked the whole road and you didn't throw them back at her. You could have had her jump through all of that. I have actually had it before where we've turned around and gone, no, The triple P can be done by both of you, and the circle of security should be done by both parents. And the reason for it is because it's
benefiting the child.
It's benefiting the child.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's the whole whether you choose to take the high road or the low road. So here's my metaphor. I love to speak in metaphors and sayings, right? So the metaphor is this.
I reckon I know what you're going to say. You go.
You can walk two roads, high road or low road. If you walk the high road, which is you don't throw mud at people, you play a straight bat, you be very open and honest, full on your sword, show where your failings are because that's human. Don't pretend that you're perfect because you're fucking not. And judges know you're not. Believe it, they don't realize that you're God. So if you walk the high road, the rule is the other party will throw mud at you. Some will land on you, but it'll only land on your feet, maybe up to your knees. But the rest of you will stay relatively clean. And then that's unscathed. If, however, you walk the low road, the low road is one covered in mud.
Tit for tat.
No, it's just covered in mud.
Yep.
So even if the other one is not tit for tatting and you're walking the low road, so you're making up lies, you're weaponizing the children, you're making these allegations, you throw mud at the person. If the other person is walking the high road, when you throw something up, what happens with it?
Comes down.
Comes back down. So it's going to land on you. So you're going to actually throw mud at someone thinking you've scored a point. You might, but it's also going to land back on you. And so you end up just as dirty from your allegations and you literally get covered in it. And the amount of people I've seen use dodgy tactics and lies and all that, and it backfires on them because the judge just goes, no, you look outrageous. You look stupid. You do not look child focused. You look like you are the abusive behavior. Because remembering you're dealing with a human who's seeing one person just constantly throwing all of this crap.
Yep.
And the other person going, all right, I'll step through here. Step through here. When you don't throw it back, you go, all right, if that's what she needs to feel like that. No, I don't agree with what she said, but I'm going to jump through this anyway. And I get it. With some of your listeners, they're going to turn around and go, but why do I have to keep jumping through the hoops? It's not fair, right? Because the system's not fucking fair. But what I'm doing is showing you, if you go, okay, I get it, I'll jump through it again. What else do you need to feel comfortable and certain to know that I've done what you need to have this relationship with this child? And if she goes, well, I want you to run 100 meters around the clock, fine, run 100 meters. I don't care. Just go, okay, I shall do that. Even if inwardly you're thinking, oh my God, would you just, get hit by a car? The answer is you turn around and go, okay, look, I get it. You're struggling with certainty right now. You're feeling unsure. It's a whole new environment. So then you actually go through and you're explaining and you're jumping through the hoops, which means you're not doing it for her. You're actually weaponizing yourself by disarming her arguments. And the best way you can run into a court is by going, and it literally is, it's the proverbial, okay, Your Honor, I've jumped through it and again. Okay, I'll do it again. Okay, one more test, Your Honor. All right, look, I'm just trying to provide Mum with the certainty because quite clearly she's got some concerns. I don't actually agree, but nevertheless, let's appease her concerns. Look at me. I'm now the rational one. I'm now the calm one. When you get into the box and when you read your affidavit, which has said, I'm happy to do it, Your Honor. Not, fuck you, why do I have to do it? But I'll do it anyway, begrudging, but not happy to do it. All of a sudden, you have the judge on your side. And the key is get the judge on your side. And if the lawyer that you have, the judge does not like, don't use that lawyer.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how would you know that as an applicant though?
When you see how the judge speaks to them.
Yeah, okay.
Like if you've got a law firm and they've got multiple lawyers.
It's interesting you say that. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
I remember one day the barrister I normally use wasn't available. Had another standing barrister. I was burnt out. I just had, full faith. Yep, you've been briefed. And but he was a criminal barrister, and the way he spoke to the judge dressed him down.
Was that
he said, I know who you are. No, it was family. Yeah, I
Oh,
know. I was thinking, he just
yeah.
said, everyone was, on the bed this day.
Criminal lawyers are a different breed.
Yeah, and obviously I didn't pick up on it because I'm
Yeah.
I don't know. But the way he addressed my points, the points,
Yeah.
he said, he goes, I know who you are, I know your background.
Yeah.
You will not you will not speak. This is the family call. You will not speak to me. And I was going,
which means he has an appalling
yeah, and I was
reputation.
just like, fuck, I might as well walk out now,
Yeah.
So,
because it means you are now well and truly behind the eight
Yep.
ball. I'm very, very careful when we engage barristers.
mm,
Very, very careful
Mm.
about which barrister, because there are some who are great with different judges.
mm,
There are others who will literally rub other
up the wrong
judges the
way.
wrong way,
Mm.
and you don't. And there's also then sometimes you might. Sorry to say this because this is a relevant tactic. Because again, I'm trying to get my client the best. Don't hate me. Or send me my hate mail. Sometimes certain judges are quite benefit quite by more pleasing looking females
Mhm.
who happen to be wearing maybe
One
lower cut
button
tops
undone, the little
and
one button.
leaning forward.
Ah.
Just, Your Honor,
Oh,
leaning
stop it.
forward. Yeah. I remember a story of a judge who turned around and had one female, and it was the judge who actually told us this. Turned around and had a female barrister in front of him, and she was not wearing a bra, and she was wearing like a little sundress
A little
with
bit
a suit
cold in
jacket.
there, yeah.
Yeah, quite clearly.
Yeah.
Headlights were on.
Yeah.
And she turned around, and as she would talk, she would lean over. So she wasn't using the lectern, she was leaning over the table. And she kept saying, if it pleases the court, if it pleases the court. And he responded, well, it does please the court, but could you please stand up because I can see straight down your dress. That was many, many, many years ago. But it's like, so because he was a comment, he was about like what women should wear and things like that.
Yeah.
But I also know that there was another judge who's no longer at the bench who, whenever I had to go into court, I used to go, all right, young article clerk. She used to wear the shortest of skirts and the lowest of tops. And every time he saw her, he'd be like, hi. And the smile would come up. And it's like, if that helps, fine.
All right. I know we could speak for hours. I know there's a lot of questions that my viewers want to go through. But before we get to anything else, this will probably fall into questions, but 1975, the Family Act, right? So we're 50 years. Now, I haven't asked you yet, but, the system I feel is broken. Has it always been broken the whole 50 years? So, because I heard that family court, when John Howell was in, the family court was...
No.
Bettina Art mentioned that the family court was when John Howell was in, and then I think when Julie Gillard came in, she scrapped the shared parental custody. Was it Julie Gillard?
So what happens is we go through periods, right?
Yeah.
We go from the ones who are very pro-women, which is the equal shared parental responsibility. Before that, there was no equal shared parental responsibility. Then it was there was no presumption of equal time. Then it was. Now we're back to now it's not, because it's the whole
whoever's in.
It's whoever's in who are either pro men, pro women.
Yep.
In terms of it, and part of that, like none of that, it helps either. Like all the changes. I will actually say, when I first started, the best thing I saw was it's not so much about the rules around it, because regardless of the changes in the law, they still sort of manipulate and come back to where it was. I think probably one of the right things that came out of all the amendments was that status quo was no longer the primary thing for interim orders, because status quo used to meant that women had a very unfair advantage, and especially if they got a DBO, it meant the kids would stay with her because they had status quo, right?
Yep.
And so that's not the case now, which is great. But the amendments that have just come through now, I haven't seen them make any difference whatsoever in terms of the outcome. Okay. I really haven't, because all they do is they just manipulate around to go, okay, we've got to get back to here.
Okay.
There are some changes, there's some not. The biggest issue comes with the speed of resolutions in the court system and the procedures. So for me, that is the absolute failing. The amount of documents that people have to do is an absolute failing. It's unnecessary. Like every time we go into court, we've got to do a cost notice. Why? I don't give a shit how much cost they've paid on the other side. Not unless we're going after a cost order. So, but you're not going to go after a cost order unless it's, you know, there's an argument for it. And that could reduce, and it just saves money because every time you've got to pay your lawyers to do that. Like an undertaking as to disclosure. Well, they sign it and yet they haven't done it anyway. Like it's, and then we've got the pre-action procedures we've got to do now. And we've got to jump through the hoops. Now we've got to do a letter. Now we've got to do this. Now we've got to do mediation. Whereas none of those things ever used to have to be done. And things just move faster.
You know what really pissed me off? Pre-readiness trial. Now, my understanding was the whole point of the pre-readiness trial was to make sure, have you got your T's crossed? Have you got your I's dotted? We've got everything?
Yep.
Okay, I will give you a trial date. Now, we went to pre-readiness trial. Oh, how is this? So the family report writer, the first one said, I side with the mother based on all the DV allegations. If the DV allegations are to be squashed, the family report is to be thrown out. Don't quote me word for word. She can't make a decision because, you know, but so the thing. So once we got the DV trial squash, the legal team contacted the ISL saying, hey, this has been squashed.
Yeah.
We should get an updated family report.
Yeah.
The ISL said, no, it should be right. It should be fine. Even I know as an applicant, as a thing, I said, we need to get updated one because we got thrown out.
Yeah.
So 3 or 4 months later, when we go to trial, bear in mind, I didn't want to adjourn. My ex didn't want to adjourn. Her mum actually flew from England. We were there ready to go.
Yeah.
The ICL has the audacity on the day of trial to say, no, we needed to adjourn. We need to update family report. I was sitting there.
Did you say no? I don't
agree. We said no. We wanted to put my ex was going, no, we wanted to go ahead. We were saying go ahead. Judge said, oh yeah, we better get updated. I was fuming.
And then you turn around and say, well, then I want and that's when you go, well, can I have costs against the ICL then?
Yeah. And why is it I've been told because the courtrooms are so backlogged. You go to court for trial and you rock up to the day and they go, oh, sorry, there's someone in there. I'm thinking, how can someone be in there? It's designated for me. And apparently it's because
there's 3.
And they're hoping that one gets done before that because they can try and catch up on them because it's so backlogged.
It's because 90% of matters actually settle at court. So that what they don't want to do is have a day that's wasted. So they sit there, but it
backfires on me as that because I've got to pay the legal team.
Yeah, you do. You do. I've had matters where the client I had to set aside like ready for a 4-day trial, and the court said, "Sorry, you're not going to get a start." And this is as a barrister, and you go, "Okay, well, thank you, but you now have to still pay my fees." Sucks.
Yeah, it does.
Because I couldn't take up other work because it was too close and on that. It happens all the time. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And no offense, but you're at least out of pocket about 10 grand, if not more, a day if you're using a barrister and a solicitor.
It's funny you say because I went on a Better Blokes project and I was talking about my journey. I said, you know, I wanted extra time with my daughter, an extra hour. My ex would say no, so I'd have to file an interim hearing and spend 10 grand. And people are like, what do you mean 10 grand? I don't bother replying to people's comments. People that have been through the system thing. Yeah. For me, it's like, well, the barrister's 6.5 for the half day. The lawyer's got to do the pre-work. That's 3.5. That's 10 grand.
And then they've got to be there on the day because they're not going to appear uninstructed.
Right. And people are like, 10 grand, that was like, mate.
Yeah, that's
I'm not going to bother.
That's actually cheap. Well done.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Score.
All right. Question time. Do you want to go to the toilet first or anything?
No, you're good.
So I put up the window. There's no way we're going to get through them. And a lot of them are the same anyway, or they fall under the same category. Andrew Chappell asks, what can we do as the general public to help fix the broken system?
Nothing.
There's nothing we can do, is there?
Nothing. It's called run for parliament.
For the fathers that have been falsely accused and can prove it, I would like to know how to challenge a SC6ZBD order, because under information sharing schemes in this country, it can be shared with records from child protection, police, firearms, and health services. That means no mental health support because you're a perpetrator. Aside from being challenged, can it be removed? An S67ZBD.
No, well, once the cat's out of the bag, so that's what he's talking about is the release of information from police and all of that stuff. But once the cat's out of the bag, they've already got it. But there's a prohibition from discussing or publishing anything from the family court.
Yep.
So it's got to stay there. So
Okay.
you can actually seek with the judge, for instance, if there's very highly sensitive information,
Yep.
that the judge look at it first before they release it, or that it can only go to legal representatives
Okay.
and not be disclosed to the other party.
Yep.
So we do that fairly often. So a judge can look at it and assess whether it's relevant or not.
Okay.
So that's basically all you can really do in relation to that.
All right.
Yeah.
Perjury and lies lies in court. In your opinion, what reforms are most urgently needed in family courts to better serve families and children? Do you think the family court system adequately addresses cases of DV or abuse, or are there gaps in the way these cases are handled?
The reform okay. If I was going to change the entire Family Law Act, all of it, let's go back to from a constitutional basis.
Yep.
What I would do is if we avoid parenting for the moment, I would actually go back and change the Marriage Act so that it is something called communal property, which is what they do in South Africa. So in South Africa, what they do is when you get married is when you decide how you're going to divide up your assets in the event of separation. So you can have it at the start that it'll be 50-50. So
kind of like a prenup type thing? No.
Well, it's embedded in law. So you just choose how you're going to enter a marriage. So it can be when you separate, it'll be divided equally, or it'll be based upon contributions, or it can be determined at the end. And what that does is actually minimizes and reduces a lot of the need to even go into the family court system.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been told that in Germany, they don't actually have family lawyers.
Well, I have a friend in Germany, and she told me that it's automatically 50-50 off the bat.
Yeah. And it's which in one way I get it, unless there's certain exceptions. So if you had that as a base and then turned around and said, but you have to meet this criteria if there are certain exceptions, that would be great. Or in terms of property settlement, because a lot of people don't understand why it's not a really set calculation. Because we always say, it's about how's the judge sort of feel.
Yeah.
It would be really, really easy to make it a set calculation for percentages. For instance, if you've got children under 5 with no health issues or, autism or anything like that, then the percentage adjustment for a parent with this amount of time is X.
Okay.
At least people would then go, now we know what potentially we're up with.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And there's no reason why you can't do that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's my
that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Bit of a hating one. Why are judges so untouchable, ignoring evidence and making horrendous decisions that affect so many people without no way of being questioned? I think you're going to there'll be a lot of things like that.
Yeah, I have no doubt. Because you don't appeal them. But the biggest fear that a judge has is to be appealed and for the appeal to be successful.
Is that common? Does that happen?
That judges are appealed, yes.
Yeah, and what's it called, overturned or
so the decision is overturned or overruled. Yeah, it happens all the time. But what happens is behind the doors, closed doors, is when their decisions are overturned, then their reputation cops a beating.
Yeah.
And judges don't like their reputations copping a beating. So it's part of why sometimes judges are really aggressive and try to force you to settle. And why they go out their way to write these really long written judgments and things like that. But yeah, so they're not untouchable. And a perfect example of that, really sad, was the Judge Andrews.
Townsville?
Yes.
Yes.
So he was a good friend of mine when I was in Chambers. So we're in Chambers together.
Family court judge?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, who took his own life.
Yeah.
And that was because of how he behaved and then one of my colleagues was on that matter as well, one of my friends. So, and because of the judge's behavior in that, he got reprimanded back down and brought back down to Brisbane for basically training.
Yeah.
And as a result, the reputation got...
Took a toll on his mental health. And
Yes, it did. It really did.
I thought someone told me that he was a criminal court judge and then he got put in family court. No? Yeah, that's a rumor.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a criminal court judge. No, that was
I think
Carmody.
it's someone else. Okay.
Yeah, Judge Carmody, and then he ended up going back to criminal law.
Is there judges that there was a lawyer that took his own life down here a year ago. Don't quote me who
Yeah, no. Was it a lawyer or a judge? Because that was Guy Andrews.
No, there was a veteran lawyer. I think he took his life. That's how I heard about it.
I don't know about that, but yeah. So
the common in this industry,
taking their own life. No, it's more common that their livers give out from the amount of alcohol. Especially on Fridays. But it is a highly stressful. So strokes are high, strokes and heart attacks. But yeah, I think it is where people focus so heavily on their reputation and what other people think of them.
As a lawyer, barrister, and judge, do you have weekends off? Because I would assume you just...
I do.
Yeah,
but don't get me wrong, that's a rarity.
Yeah,
a lot of law firms.
Will you just be reading material, right? Like most of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
You get home,
if you were a judge, I would say the likelihood of a judge having too much time off would not be high.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I couldn't see how you get through workload. And this is part of the reason why when you say, he hasn't even read my material before he gets it. Dude, do you know how many people, like if you put in 100-page affidavit and it's all shit, they're going to get really frustrated. Yeah, because you can see them flipping through and going, point me to what's relevant.
Yeah.
Because they have not read it beforehand. Some do. Some are very conscientious, especially when they first come to the bench. And it's great when they have. But if they haven't, you still have to direct them to the most salient parts of it. Because usually the theory is if you can't actually put forward your case in 10 to 20 pages, then you're waffling.
Yeah, okay.
You're not succinct enough.
All right. Yeah. We touched on it before, but there'll be so many. We'll put it to bed again. Why isn't the crime of perjury punished? Perjury, especially clear, documented, confirmed by the judge's cases.
Yeah.
We spoke about it before.
Yeah, we spoke about it before, which is just because in family courts, toothless tiger, and I think it's because they see so many people lying now.
Why can one party get away with outrageous lies in the affidavit? Do the court recognise the lies? It's a costly process to address the lies. Is it worth addressing them?
It's worth addressing them when it comes to submissions to a judge, showing what the lies are. If you can actually contradict them and you formulate it into an argument going, Your Honour, this is contradicted in their own material here. Plus here, if you look at here, it's a contradiction in their own material. Therefore, my suggestion, Your Honour, is that goes to credibility in that you take whatever that's said in their affidavit with the grain of salt because they're not being forthright and honest with you.
Yeah.
That's how you deal with it in that regard. And especially when they're in the box. I'll tell you, the best punishment you could ever give the other party is to have them cross-examined by a very aggressive barrister.
Yeah.
It's
What's the longest
brutal.
cross-examining you've ever seen or been involved in?
The longest it was a criminal trial, and the longest cross-examination was, I think, for the one person was 3 weeks.
Wow! So Monday to Friday, she was in the box.
Yeah, it was a he. Yeah.
Wow.
My client was in the box for about 3 weeks solid.
Was that over rape or something?
No, it was fraud. It was stealing in planes, but fraud. And I'll tell you right now, fraud is boring as shit.
Yeah, I could imagine.
At least when it's murder, it's juicy. Like, I mean, it sounds bad, right? And here I am. I watch serial killer shows. No judgment, just gaining tools. But yeah, in family courts, the longest I've seen someone in the box is 4 days.
Wow.
For a really complex matter. But judges, last year I had a trial that went for...
What's the longest trial you've been in?
Longest trial ever I've been in was about 10 weeks.
What?
Yeah.
Okay,
10
what
weeks.
was the main topic that?
No, that was the criminal fraud one.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
again, so boring.
Yeah,
Yeah, we got to know everybody really
yeah, I
intimately.
bet.
We went out. We even got invited out to judges' chambers to have tea and watch the cricket. Oh, it's
So,
exciting!
so they had a jury. They had.
Yeah, they had a jury.
So how's the jury work? They get paid. They get
get
nominated by
paid.
public. They
Yeah,
get paid well.
paid, a very token amount. Yeah.
So how do you get chosen to be on the jury?
You
You just get a random
random.
letter.
It's random, unless I'm not allowed to be chosen.
Yeah.
I'd like to be on a jury.
10 weeks, yeah. And
I know.
they feed you, accommodate you.
Yeah. Well, you go home, and
But you can't speak about it because that's how a case fell through somewhere in Australia. Maybe someone spoke about it, and then
and then it'll discharge the jury and things like that.
So let's just say that was a 10-week trial,
Yeah.
and one legal team could try and penetrate someone in the jury to make it, if they were corrupt and wanted to.
So what happens? I mean, they take the jury out. The jury leaves through a different entrance. So, in order to try and avoid that. And what happens is when you're going through the jury selection, you get a list.
Yep.
Of the name. And
you choose, or you.
And then that list gets handed back and destroyed. So you can't write down.
Yeah. Okay.
All that stuff. So yeah, it's very, very tight in that regard. But yeah.
Cat Farm Girl. She's a lawyer. You know her?
No, I don't.
Yeah, she said say get. She's spoken to me. She's a lawyer. Sorry, I don't know her surname, but she's coming there. What will it take to change? Why has it been neglected for so long? It's obvious favoured to one side. Why prove the system or need to be named shame? I'll reword that one. This will be a question for me because this is one I always wanted. Do you believe the family court is one-sided, favoured, or biased to one gender?
Yes.
Female?
Yeah. Do you want to know why? Yeah, it's very much it is favoured towards females, but it's not a conspiracy, right? They don't even realise what's happening with it. I really see that. Here's the reason why. It all goes back to hunters and gatherers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me take you in a history lesson. So men and women.
Men the provider back in the day.
Yeah. But when you think about it, right? So when you're a little child, a little baby, little boy, right? Before you're influenced by what society says you should be and how you should act, you're actually quite nurturing with mom. You want your cuddles, your kisses. There is no difference in gender, right? You're both very affectionate, and you've got your, and then it comes back to your brain. So you've got your fight or flight, so your reptilian brain, so which is very basic centered. So good, bad, yes, no, run, stop, that type of thing. Then you've got your next line, which is your mammalian brain. So that's your emotional, your touchy-feelies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got your neocortex, which is a high-level logical functioning. That's your deep analytical phase of your brain. So when you go back to hunter-gatherers, what happened was, as a matter of necessity, men were like, because they were stronger, were the more obvious choice to go after the animals and get all of that.
Yep.
So they had to go, well, I can't go into my mammalian brain about touchy-feely about, I have to kill this animal because I've got to provide for the family because I've got to get it done, right? So they go into fight or flight or neocortex. That's where they jump between. And so that conditioning comes along, whereas the woman, because they're not as strong, they're like, okay, well, you can stay around and still nurture the children. So she was allowed to stay out of fight or flight more often and actually sit more in the mammalian brain, so the emotional. Then what happens is, as we go along, that still has changed and it morphs. Now you don't have to go out hunting for animals, but you had to actually morph it into, back into, your nuclear family. Man's got to earn the money.
Yeah.
You can't go, but I'm so tired now and I'm feeling like I'm a bit exhausted and I'm feeling a bit unloved. It's like, no, you have to switch off the mammalian brain because you've got to get a job done, because if you don't get the money on the table, your family starve and that's on you.
Yeah.
Right? So women, however, you can stay in your mammalian brain, stay out of your fight or flight because you get that. So this is how society has, and it's been just developed constantly like that, right?
Yep.
So the man has been taught and trained by society that going into your million brain is a luxury. And so that's why when you go into it, they're like, oh, stop crying. Don't be a sissy. Don't be a girl, that type of thing. Even when you hug, like when guys hug, it's not a lean into the hug and just lean like, oh, heart to heart, let's sit in a moment. Whereas females are, right? Like females go in there and you can be there for a good solid 5 minutes.
Yep.
Men, however, it's like your fisties, on the back, whack, whack.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, all right, I just want to beat you up in the back to show you that I'm still masculine and I'm still still beat you up if I wanted. Because you've been trained for that, and because the mammalian part has basically been shut down from society every time you go to express it, that's what's happening is you guys are the providers. So then what happens when you come into the family court? What is the Family Law Act all about when it comes to parenting? The rights of the child, the best interests of the child. The best interests of the child used to be has a right to be known and cared for by both parents, right? But when you explore into Section 60cc, and all of what that actually means when you delve right into it, it is about capacity to parent. And fathers are not rewarded for being providers. They're looked at for going, where are you tapping into your mammalian brain? Where are you demonstrating that you can be affectionate? That's your capacity to parent, that you can nurture, you can actually tap into what that child needs. It's about wishes of the child. Well, a child is going to gravitate to the person who shows them the most emotion and things. They're not going to go, all right, no, I see it, but hey, Dad, well done for actually putting food on the table and supporting us. And the Family Law Act doesn't reward that. It only rewards basically things which are based in motion.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So is it biased? Yes. Do they realize what I've done? No, they have no clue. It is the men who actually do the most successful in family court are the ones who can tap into the mammalian brain and the emotion. Yeah, and basically undo that societal training.
I remember when my daughter was 6 months when we broke up, and then I remember my lawyer saying, "Listen, you're not going to get overnight care till after she's 2." And I was like, well, hold on, what's going on? And he said, "Mate, the first 2 years or first couple of years, nurturing phase. So it's like a biological advantage to the mother. They don't." That's why when we broke up at 6 months, when my daughter was 6 months, she wasn't breastfeeding, but we didn't get to court till 4 months later. So my daughter's 9. Once we get back to court, all of a sudden my ex said she was breastfeeding again. She wasn't, but that way when we went to visits, I could only have my daughter for 1 hour because she needed to breastfeed again. And I was just like, I think,
and breastfeeding, it's one of the absolute tactics. If a man and a woman separate and the woman is breastfeeding, one of the first pieces of advice would be stay breastfeeding as long as you can.
Yeah.
Well, it's a necessity for the child.
Yeah.
Because once a child starts going on to solids and things like that, it no longer becomes a nutritional necessity.
Yeah.
But male judges, especially, if you say breastfeeding, they're like, ooh, that's girly stuff. Okay, we won't interfere with that. They get frightened of breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Or saying no to breastfeeding.
This is actually from a mother. Honestly, could go on and on. 10 years in that broken system broke me. Thankfully, I've been able to rebuild my life and find happiness again, but I will never forgive the courts for never holding the other party accountable for removing a child from their loving father's life. They knew, and it was documented for 10 years. They told us we would get custody when the child was broken. Why allow her to be broken in the first place? And then when she was broken, she was deemed old enough to make her own decisions. How old does a child need to be? 12 or 13? I've had a father on, and he's, they had parenting orders in 50-50, whatever. And then I think his child was about 13, and he said to his dad, "I don't want to go back to the mother's place." And he said, "Okay, stay here." The cops came, and the cops asked the child, "What do you want to do?" And the child said, "I'm staying here." And the way it was explained to me, I could be wrong, was, well, that child was of an age where he or she could speak for himself.
Okay, so the cops would have come to do a welfare check.
Yep.
So the cops wouldn't forcibly remove that kid. They just want to make sure that it's okay.
Even though there's a parenting
state police have no jurisdiction over a family court order. None.
Only feds.
None. And I've had my clients put the phone on the police my clients put the police on the phone to me who are at their house saying, we're going to do this. Sharon said, get out of their house. You have no warrant. You have no jurisdiction here. This is a federal court order. You are state police. You have no jurisdiction. Get out.
So would they'd have to file contravention?
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the meantime,
the only way the police ever get involved, and it's the federal police, is when there is a recovery order issued, and then they are forced to execute that. So that's issued like as a warrant.
So I have my daughter Saturday, Sunday. Let's just say Sunday night, and I refuse to drop my daughter back, and then the Monday, what would be likely course of action moving forward? She would have to contact her legal team to file a recovery order.
She'd have to go through for a contravention, or she could apply to the court for a recovery order. So she just files a new application in court to have the child returned. But in terms of the answer about the age, which is really important, there is no set age to which a child's wishes take prevalence. However, there is none. Technically, under the order and under the Act, it's 18 when the Act no longer applies and that order no longer applies. However, in practical reality, it is this. The oldest that I have seen a court go against a child's wishes that I have seen is 14. But what they do is when they're looking at a child's wishes, they look at their age, they look at the child's maturity, they look at the understanding of the decision that the child's making and the reasons behind it. Now, I've also seen a court follow the wishes of a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Because the 7-year-old was coherent.
Could explain and justify.
Explained and justified it in such a mature way. They went, yeah, no, we're following what she wants.
Yeah.
But the 14-year-old that I saw go against, he turned around and said, I want to live with Dad because he lets me smoke dope and I get to have sex with my girlfriend. I don't have to go to school. And I don't want to go back to Mum's because I can't smoke dope and I'm not allowed to have sex in the house and she makes me go to school. And the judge basically did the proverbial slap over the head, go back to mother your twin.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I get it.
But I've never seen a court go against a child who is 15. So usually about 14 is when the court will basically say the orders usually run something like the child will spend time with each parent as per the child's wishes. At 13, no, but they will factor in the child's wishes. But just because a child expresses it doesn't mean a court will go with it.
Yeah, okay.
So they've got to look at all that, especially if there's alienation and things involved.
Parental alienation. I know there's a lot of comments about here. Someone mentioned here parental alienation. Is that something the courts need to factor in? Do they take it seriously? Do you think it should be a crime?
Yeah, should it be a crime? No. The thing about it is when parents separate sometimes and there is unintentional alienation and then there's really deliberate. The unintentional alienation comes from mum and dad are separating and let's say it's mum, hypothetically. Mum is so distressed, or let's say dad left. Dad was the one who called it a day. Mum is so distressed and so distraught that she is displaying her hostility towards dad to the kids or in front of the kids. And by default, it alienates the kids against dad. Or as women tend to do, so funny, I wrote about this in my book. Or as they tend to do, women, part of their coping strategy is they want people on their side. So they try to go, you understand, right? You understand I'm like look at me. He destroyed me, right?
You call it brainwashing?
Yeah, it's remembering. So when women go from fight or flight, they go from mammalian brain to fight or flight. And what happens is part of their fight or flight response with the mammalian, so the emotion required, is connection and attachment. So when that connection, so a separation occurs or it's been ripped away from her, she seeks it out from other people around her. Yeah. So she'll seek it out from her family. She'll seek it out from close friends. So how many times have you had separations where they're like, oh, we've got to align with mum, or we've got to pick a side, that type of thing. Or the kids have got to pick a side. And that's when the alienation happens. Other times, mum gets so angry and so hostile that she does it to weaponize.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is sad. Why don't police investigate DV allegations before removing the father from the home and the children's lives?
Can't answer that.
Yeah. Why is family court based on the balance of probabilities and not black and white like the criminal court?
Because the criminal court means that people could end up in jail.
Okay, yeah.
Right. And it's not based on the balance of probabilities. It's basically to a level that the court is satisfied.
Okay.
So it's not even balance of probabilities is what we call civil jurisdiction. This is different altogether. So it's just to the court's satisfaction.
Okay.
So remembering family court, the decision to be made by a stranger, hearing the evidence for the first time. And if you're really shit with being able to present your case, it's not going to go over well for you.
Yeah. It's not something similar. What genuine steps can family law solicitors take both individually and collectively to, 1, push the reforms that address the deep injustice embedded in the current family law system, especially the imbalance of justice for fathers, and 2, advocate for changes in domestic violence proceedings so that determinations are held to the standard of beyond reasonable doubt rather than current probable threshold?
Well, in DV, it doesn't actually even have that threshold at all. So DV, again, is to the court's satisfaction. And with domestic violence, court matters, the rules of evidence don't apply at all. And I think the rules of evidence don't apply because they know that they're dealing with what we call unsophisticated people. So we're not dealing with lawyers a lot of the times. You've got people who are under a whole lot of stress. I personally don't think it would ever need to go to a balance of like beyond reasonable doubt or anything like that. And I have a lot of fun, by the way, just while we're in DV court when the rules of evidence don't apply, because it's a lot of fun for me cross-examining because I can just go to town. But I do, however, think the big change with it would be the awarding of costs if someone is found to have actually lied. That is really because the amount of times, because the only way you can get costs in a domestic violence one is if you can actually demonstrate that the application was malicious and vexatious.
Yeah.
And that's a very hard case to get to. I've only gotten to it once. And what happens is you get to trial and then they withdraw it right before you're about to go on because you can prove the evidence. I actually think in those circumstances, I think costs should be awarded more. And I think that would, think that would put a big hold on a lot of it. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I won the cost, she got an invalidity something certificate. What is that? So,
Like a pension?
No. So no, indemnity. So
indemnity costs. You got indemnity costs.
Indemnity costs. Is that what I got?
Well done.
Yeah.
You know what that means?
Yeah. So because
she pays all your reasonable legal fees.
Yeah, but the way it was explained to me, it's lucky that we got that one because she says she couldn't pay it, so the court paid it. Is that right? Like so,
the court
she didn't have to pay it out of her own
don't
pocket.
Usually, but
Well,
so it depends on which ones they got. It's possible.
My ex didn't pay it. I know that. So who paid it for her?
No. So that would probably be the court. So it depends on what they actually got.
Yeah, because let's just say they do make the person. If the person says, "Well, I've got no money," how do they pay?
No, so that's part of when you're assessing costs and things like that. That the court look at their ability to pay and all of that. They turn around and basically go, sometimes they just go, I don't care. Okay. You're going to pay it. Okay. And then what happens if they don't, depending upon how it's done, that's a court order. So you can either do an enforcement where you can sell property to get the money, or depending upon how it is, it can actually go to spur. And, yeah.
You get deducted.
Yeah, exactly.
As a father, I was told not to go through the court system from another female lawyer who said these exact same words and to save the money for the child and try and fix the marriage as you won't win in court. You will lose over 100K and it will take at least 3 years. These were her words. So he was agreeing with what you said in there. And I've had another lawyer on here recently and he's man and he said, he said, guys, you might not agree with what I'm about to say, but if you split, he goes, just walk. He said, because if you try and go through family court, you're just going to get,
if it was me with property settlement, I wouldn't go through family court, but I would engage a property arbitration.
Okay, what does that mean?
So basically, you can get you basically both engage. You pay for a barrister or an arbitrator. So
Settle
like
it.
I'm an arbitrator as well, and they basically go through and run it like a trial. And you put in all affidavits and all of that. You run it all. They make a decision, which is called an award. That get registered. That gets registered with the court, and it's binding.
So you're running it outside the court.
Yep.
And then you just
And you
submit
get
it.
it
Go,
done really
we got a conclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. Get it really quick. You just got to pick a really good arbitrator to make sure they know what they're doing.
Yeah, okay.
But for me, if I was separating with my husband, and I'm not because he's really well trained, but I would go through and I'd do an arbitration if we can come to an agreement.
Yeah, well, that's good.
I'd keep away from the family court as much as possible. And the family court is encouraging people to go through the arbitration.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's quicker. You can get it all done in like a month.
Why is it so backlogged? Why does it come back 4 months, 3 months? Is it because they're understaffed, or is it because there's so much more paperwork you need to do? Is it because you need to see this person?
I think it was a combination of a couple of things, but I think all I know is if I go back 25, 30 years ago, it wasn't backlogged like this. Everything was clean. It was getting out. Now, I appreciate more people separating, like relationships are a lot more fluid these days. But I think part of it with having more paperwork and putting in extra steps because they're trying to keep them out of court is actually making a backlog. And then what we've had is things like the decisions. Instead of making them there and then on the day, they're like, oh, I've now got to write them. And then here we go. It's the delay. I had a matter which was urgent where the child was at high risk, 3 years for a decision. 3 fucking years for a child who was at high risk in that parent's care.
I read a report online, not Purden Sully.
Not Purden.
No,
Oh, yeah.
no, there was a lady, she was in Rockhampton. Her father was a judge, just died recently. Denmark.
Oh, yeah.
And Denmark, I read a report that she was, don't quote me the exact words, she was prolonging decisions for years, 3 years. And she, okay, say no more.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I read.
Yes.
All right, moving on. What custody rights does a father have to his child if he splits up with his partner who they have an almost 1-year-old child with? Clean criminal record, no convictions.
Okay. Here's the deal. When you separate, there's no rule as to who gets the child. There is no law that says just because she gave birth to the child that the child is with her. Just none.
You probably couldn't really answer that question, right? Because what you split up? Sure. Now, allegation, this, that, like I suppose you can't really answer that because you don't know how this breakup's going to happen. Like I remember when
but what I do with my clients is before they're going to break up, like usually, and if you're smart, because men separate differently to women, right?
Yep.
So men go, I'm leaving you. Now I've got to figure out what I've got to do. Women go, I'm leaving you.
I already know what to do.
I already know what to do because I've been thinking about this for the last 3 years. And I've already got legal advice. I've already looked at the money. I've already looked at this. I've already know where the place to go and what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And like the woman always preemptively plans, not always, but generalized.
It's funny you say that because when I was cleaning up my house, I found a book, that my notebook, and she had been playing in it. Yeah, she'd been playing it.
That's women.
Hague Convention, all of it.
Remember, women are covert. They're subtle. So that's why. So with it, before you're going to decide to separate, is go and get some legal advice first.
Yep.
And actually have a plan in place for what that time and contact is. If you want to cover your ass in terms of allegations, you should always, anytime you have contact with the other party, should always be recorded.
Okay.
Don't tell them you're recording. In Queensland, you don't have to tell. In New South Wales, you do.
Yeah, what is this again? Can you go over this?
Yeah, so in Queensland, as long as you're a party to the conversation, you can record it without letting the other party know.
So,
New South Wales, no.
So just me and you in this room? Like, this should pop up. I've got a recording device on me?
Yep.
That's legal?
Yep.
But someone was saying if a third party comes in, that changes the dynamics?
No, if you're still a party to it. But, for instance, and I'll give you an example, there was a case where the other party, so dad put a recording. It was a case where mum and dad were swapping out the residents. Kids stayed in the one house, mum and dad swapped out residents. And the child was making allegations that mum was really abusive to the child.
Yep.
There was no way dad could get that evidence. And so what dad did was he set up a recording device in the house. And then he left. Mum came in with the child and then got recorded of her being really abusive to the child and things like that. Now that's actually illegal, right?
Yep.
So that's a breach against Surveillance Act and Evidence Act.
Did you say that's illegal or legal?
Illegal.
Illegal.
It's illegal. So think of it like tapping a phone and things like that. That's illegal. However, that case on point was really cool, and I can't remember the name of it. It actually said the court actually allowed it in because they turned around and they said there was no other way he would have been able to get that evidence before the court. And the test of it where material is being gained illegally is whether the probative value of that evidence outweighs the prejudicial effect of how that evidence was obtained. Look it up. I can't remember the name, but that was a really cool one, which basically means even with that one, you could potentially have brought it into evidence.
He said he was recording the house, did you say?
Yep.
But what would the difference be between if you had CCTVs in your house?
No, well, that'll be different because that's not covert. So it's about hiding.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
That's not covert. But this was done deliberately to catch her.
Yeah, okay. How do you have orders actually enforced, adhered to without spending a fortune going back to court?
You don't.
You don't.
So don't throw good money after bad.
My question, why are there no penalties or sanctions when a lie is proven in court? A lie can ruin a life, but when it's proven to be a lie, literally nothing happens to the person doing the thing. We spoke about perjury. Why can't the court order psychological assessment and intervention before deciding who has a say over the matter?
They can.
They can, yeah.
And they do. Look, I actually think the whole family report process and all of that is probably a little underwhelming. I personally think you actually need to have an expert with the parties over a period of time.
Yeah.
So there's more check-ins as opposed to just, one day.
Well, that's when, And I remember when we went to get the second family report writer, I said, can I get a private one done? I'll pay for it out of my own pocket. And the judge said, well, no, I'd rather you get the same person again because, and I think.
Not unless they're horrible.
Yeah. And then I remember we actually got the ICL on our side and after time, and we said can we get a psychological assessment done on her? ICL agreed. ICL put it to the judge, and I have to kind of agree with the judge because the judge said, don't quote me word for word, he said, yeah, but to be honest, it's going to be a waste of time because the psych is only going to tell me exactly what she tells the psych. Don't quote me word for word.
Yeah,
and
because if it's a self-reporting thing, but then if they've got a mental health issue, they can't avoid it.
Yeah,
right? But it is it depends upon what assessment they do.
Yeah, okay.
How
thorough?
Yeah. So there are some really good ones, and then there's some others that you look at and you just go,
yeah.
It's if you're smart enough, you know where to tick.
Yeah.
You don't always go, look, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, I'm amazing, because then they go, all right, you're a little bit altruistic there. So when to. It's about whether you can acknowledge when you've got just different failings and things like that.
What rights do grandparents have as in access to their grandchildren? None, do they?
No. So they're a significant other person in a child's life.
Of course.
And so under the Act, the child has a right to be known and cared for by both parents and spend time with other significant individuals. So usually when it's grandparents, the rule of thumb is usually they will spend time with the child when the child is with that parent. So if they're dad's parents, they'll spend time there. In the event that that's not possible, if they have been the grandparents, let's say, who are very hands-on, like, for instance, my parents looked after my eldest 3 times a week for the first couple of years. They would have a right to go back to the court and say, I'd like to spend time with the child. Usually that looks like something like once or twice a month or something like that. So shorter period of times, but they actually do have options. Yeah.
Yeah. I had to get the judge to put my ex would say no to everything. So I had to get the judge to put my parents' name on the court order for them to you know.
Yeah,
like,
to have time. So you make them like a second responder interruption.
Yeah. My ex decided yesterday that I've breached court order 3 times in the first 3 weeks and is suspending it, so I have no visitation. Said her solicitors says she can do that. FYI, I haven't breached. Can't answer that.
Well, it depends on whether you've breached
But
or
breached or
not.
not,
And
yeah.
then it's potentially bringing a contravention application.
What's the best ways to approach a parental alienation case? What evidence do you need to have a strong case?
Comments of the kid and then comments of what mum has done. So and behaviors. That's really important. So if mum emails, it's amazing how many people put their foot in emails. Like you should be looking at it as like you were the star in your own soap opera, right?
Yep.
Which means every word and every piece of dialogue that comes out of your mouth should be really clear. So if you phrase it, and if you're smart enough, you know what will egg the other party on, or you know what will set them off if you need to get to elicit certain information. And I'm not suggesting you do this, but with parental alienation stuff, you know to ask the questions in a really nice way to elicit a response that demonstrates that alienation. No, the kids don't want to. No, they're not going to. And you just keep asking in a really reasonable way. So, for instance, look, I've noticed that they're really opposed. Could I maybe suggest that we attend with some therapy with the children and I to help improve that? So you're suggesting ways to improve the relationship. And every time she shuts it down, it demonstrates alienation.
Got you.
So, but you do the whole, okay, what can we do? You know, what are the children wanting or needing to push that? And then give her opportunity to constantly shut it down. And every time she shuts it down, don't bite back. Just saying, well, I just think this is best for the children. You know, we both have a relationship. It's really important for them. It's amazing when alienation is really at the forefront. It's amazing how many times mum will say, no, you don't. Your relationship is not important. The kids don't care. The kids don't want you, blah, 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 blah. Right? And then you can even invite her to go, okay, I hear what you're saying about the children. Can I ask or invite you to maybe speak to the children about things that you could say to help improve that relationship with me, to make it better? For instance, could you encourage them about when they're coming to see me that it's exciting, or, you know, those types of things?
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, if alienation is true, she'll be like, it's not my job. It's not my job to do this, not my job to do that. And every time she shuts it down is actually
I suppose the only negative that would be is if the kids are too young to talk, right? Yeah. Then
alienation's not a thing because they're too young. They don't really know it. So that's just her just withholding.
Yep.
At that point.
Why does the court never assess what a father may have missed out on providing and sacrificing for his family, yet when it ends, he is still expected to keep forking out, putting him in a position to miss out on more of the opportunities with his children?
Yeah. And again, that goes back to you guys are the providers, masculine. And they don't even realize that they're doing it.
First question this person want to ask is, all men going through separation and custody battles are basically considered guilty. They are deemed to be abusive, narcissistic, gaslighting, controlling, regardless of whether they are or not. What has to be done to have it acknowledged that women can be all of this and more, and it be openly acknowledged that many men are victims?
Yeah. And that's changing how society are approaching it. Because at the moment, men are up against a significant amount of media hype for it.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because it's very surface level. It's not looking, because domestic violence and the whole start of domestic violence actually starts from childhood and not teaching children how to regulate emotion.
This is what we spoke about before, but why does the independent children lawyer get the final say, even when it's clear the kids are safer with the dad? They don't. Yeah, we spoke about this before. Oh, child support, that wouldn't be your
area.
Yeah, area, right? Because family.
Actually, I'm probably one of about 3 or 5 people who know child support well.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay, I better go back. Do you think the family court needs reform as well? Like, as in, yeah.
Yeah, look, I think family court, I think the Child Support Act, the Child Support Assessment Act needs reform. I've always said, I've been into the Child Support Agency, right? Like I've actually been up into the offices and stuff.
Where is it?
When I went years ago, it was near the police headquarters in Brisbane.
I suppose every state has their own headquarters for child support, or
they do. Yeah, they do. There's locks everywhere. There's codes and locks on nearly every single door. It was interesting trying to go to the bathroom. But I turned around and went, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So I used to work at Legal Aid part-time, and I used to actually do the child support section, run the child support section for liable parents, which was usually men. So I've dealt a lot with the Child Support Agency. And one of the things I know to be true, it is the most dysfunctional departments that I've ever experienced. They are very anti-men. They don't care about what's going on. Their child support assessments or the change of assessments, so the process that you go through is an internal assessment first, but there's no evidential or systematic way of using it. So mum can come back and turn around and say anything she likes about money that you own and all that. And unless you've got the evidence to back it up, they can just choose to accept what she says without any evidence and then change the money. People who are running their own businesses can turn around and they can say, no, we think you should be earning more, so blah. Now, I get it. There is a lot of men who turn around.
Oh, they're doing the dodgy. Yeah.
They do the dodge and go, oh, my new girlfriend. My new girlfriend now runs a labouring business. It's like, well, what does she do? Well, she's a nail technician. Yeah. All right. Come on, pull your head in. But there are absolutely some really legitimate ones out there that they go for. And they don't, or where men have been working like FIFO workers. And this actually really breaks my heart for them. FIFO workers where fly in, fly out, they come back and they go, okay, we're separated now. It's like, I don't want to be away from my children anymore. I can't do this. So they stop and Child Support Agency goes, well, no, you had the earning capacity back there so you can still pay it. And it's like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. That is so insane. And then you've got to jump through all these hoops before you can get up.
How long?
Yeah, exactly, to get anywhere where it's a legitimate thing. So one of the things I've always said is I've had clients who have killed themselves.
Yeah.
I've had clients who have killed the other party and killed the child. I've also had hits issued on my life 3 times. One of the things is I know in my gut that it is the way that child support system is set up really has a lot to answer for men taking their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they see no other way out of it. Then in addition to that is I've always said it would not surprise me, and I'm not suggesting this by any means, but it would never surprise me if somebody walked in to the Child Support Agency and did something really stupid.
I had this conversation with someone not long ago, actually. Yeah. So I'm going to pull up my latest pay slip. I upload my stuff on social media for them to see.
And if you can understand any of the fucking letters you ever get from child support,
right,
you are amazing. You should be going to Mensa.
So my last fortnight, how's this? I pay more child support than I do tax. You know what the ATO is like?
Yes, I do.
The ATO, this is a fortnight. I paid $1,592 to the ATO. To child support, I paid $1,776.10.
That's insane.
Yep.
And here's the thing. The more she withholds the child from you, the more money you have to pay.
Right. This is a topic in itself. I don't have enough time, but, I've engaged Crystal from Child Support Consultants. She used to work for Child Support for 14 years. Now she runs her own child. I've engaged her. Wow, the amount of stuff I've learned.
Yep.
Now she represents me and I'm going to ART, blah, blah, blah. But, she gave me an example one time. So they've classed me to be on $310,000 a year, right? Now, what I did was, and I hopefully have spoken about this before on podcasts, I was at the back end of my family court. I've run out of money. One of the boys lent me $50,000. He's not here anymore. God rest his soul. And I deposited into the ATM, you know.
And so they've gone, that's your wage.
Yes. So they took a 90-day snapshot.
Yep.
So during those 3 months, I deposited.
But they've got to do a 15 months.
Right. Yep. So then they've gone, and now I've me and this lady called Mary. She's watching. Don't like you anyway. She's in the specialist team, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now Tracy, Crystal has told me, she goes, yeah, listen, there's hate diversity bubble. There's no such thing as a specialist team. I said, mate, I write Mary. She goes, no. What they've done is, have you had a verbal argument on the phone? I said, yeah, of course I have. And they said, yeah, so they've put you in the too hard to handle basket, and they just make your life hell. I said, well, that's what they've been freezing accounts, doing this and that. I can't get ahead in life. So I get paid, I paid $1,600 to the ATO and then nearly $1,800 in child support.
Yeah.
Right? Now I'm working just to stay on my feet. I can't get ahead. I'm just working to stay afloat. So I haven't okay. Now we signed a financial bonding agreement which got knocked back. My daughter goes, that's the thing. So here we are. Now, so back to the point. So technically they say I should be paying $600 a week based off a $310,000 salary. My daughter's 4 years old. She lives in England. I have no contact whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now this other gentleman, he's on 210 grand a year. He's actually legit on 210 grand a year.
Yep.
But
it's capped out at about nearly 180 now. So that's when you're at your high level income.
Well, they tell him he needs to be paying $90,000 a year.
Yeah.
He has 2 kids. One's he has full custody of. The second he has 50-50. And they tell him you need to be paying $1,100 a week child support.
Yeah, because he earns more than she does. That's how it works.
But I'm allegedly on 310 grand a year and paying 600 a week. What?
And the only way you're going to get away from them is to go up to the ART.
Yeah, that's right.
And then after that to the court. And then the judges hate it because the judges don't know child support, because most lawyers don't know child support.
No. And that's what Crystal was saying. She goes, the last 2 years, 80% of decisions that have gone AERT have been overturned.
Yeah. And that's common because it literally, as I say, like child support agency is the worst run department I've ever experienced. Yeah. And the letters, the amount of letters that we used to get, so correspondence that we dealt with them. I remember I had a client who I turned around and said, in order for you to enforce that, you need to have an order. Show me the order. They're like, oh, it's in archive. So get it out. Show me the order. I'm demanding I'm calling for that. You show me, or we're seeking that you don't have it. Oh, no, we have it. It's just in archives. And that, in other words, they couldn't fucking find it. And if they can't find it, they can't enforce it.
Yeah.
So we actually had to go into the family court to actually get it overturned. But when you go in there, you actually have to have a lawyer who knows child support, because you've got to spoon feed the judges.
Yeah, okay.
Because they don't, and every time you get before them, they get a little bit type of thing. But I get it because they're not used to doing it. But child support agency, no.
Yeah, the powers they have
it's insane. Or they go, oh, well, you got an inheritance, so we're just going to assume you could have drawn on money.
Jeffrey Morgan that I've had on previously, he was at the airport about to fly out, got pulled aside. Didn't know what for. AFP was there. He goes, oh, mate, we called you got $10,000 overpaid child support. He goes, oh, and this happened to him, early 2000s. He was getting his invoices sent to the address, you know. He moved house, and he's quite well off now. He's turned his life around, quite successful. And he goes, oh, no problem. And he goes, I don't know, put out his credit card. The lady was on the phone from child support. Yeah, I'll just pay it now. And she's like, nah. And she was just being real rude, this lady from child support. The AFP guy actually stood and goes, listen, just so you know, you're on loudspeaker. I've heard the whole thing. You've identified a problem. He's got the solution.
Why aren't you going to take it?
He's got his card. I can see it. Let him pay it. No. And so he had a $22,000 prepaid holiday booked in Bali, gone. Yeah. So he was pissed off.
So he had a departure prohibition.
Yep. So he took them to court. He goes, well, there's bullshit. I was, he said he got a very, high-driven female lawyer that was all over it. 7 years back and forth, and he just got nowhere. Back and forth 7 years, and the lawyer just said, "Oh, you're just going to have to pay. Like you just this burning out. Like she burning out
because now you're throwing good money after bad. Because how much is it going to cost you for the lawyers?"
Yeah, and he was just like, "Man, the powers they have." Yeah, so
it is. It's amazing, like the tax returns and garnishing of wages and all that.
I've updated my tax return, and they've locked me in on it 2 years. So even though I've updated my tax return, whatever it's called.
They've just gone, okay, we're determining this is what your income will be for 2 years.
So I've had to submit all this evidence, change of assessment, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I'll pick one more from these people, from the files, and I'll ask you my standard conclusion questions. Here we go. I'm a military officer, 2 degrees, 6 diplomas, have served my country, gongs, top secret clearance, which means I have integrity. I've been screened. I'm elite. Then a paramedic for 18 years. I have delivered my son and saved my ex's life, and obviously his. And I'm being destroyed at every level by perjurious. Am I pronouncing that right? Perjurious, mentally ill ex and lawyers that wouldn't make it as a tradie if there was any accountability. Take hundreds of thousands, no neutral justice, no procedural fairness, no rights, abuse of bias and discrimination, no repercussion. It's an utter disgrace to our country. How do we squash it completely and start again to stop the generational damage it has done and is doing? So, as an industrial complex makes money on human suffering, it is killing up to 10 good men a week through suicide. I've seen less death on Everest and in war. It's an utter disgrace. Yeah, look, put it this way. How long have they been using the veteran service against veterans? Is that a recent last 5-10 years, or because I couldn't imagine it was a thing back in the day?
Well, if you think back in the day, it was
Vietnam.
the children and usually ended up. So, are we talking about family court? Or?
Yeah, family court.
Yeah. So, in the past, it used to be. So, if you think way back to when I first started, it was predominantly children would be with the mum first anyway, and dad would get every second weekend.
Yeah.
Right. So it wasn't really a big thing, and part of that was purely because veteran dad, often deployment, still not around. Forget the PTSD and all of that. She didn't even have to run into that argument. But it's becoming more and more when they're talking about moving to the 50-50, which is probably the last 20 years, that it's being weaponized more and more. Because PTSD, they're just saying PTSD is now aligning with domestic violence.
Yeah.
And that's a very broad generalization, but that's how I've seen it being used.
Yes, yeah.
And also, I think we spoke about it before we started about because when you're over in deployment, you're taught to shut down the mammalian brain. You're taught to shut down the emotional center and stay in your fight or flight. When you come back, nobody teaches you how to reactivate that or get tools to move into society. And so she just goes, well, look at you. You're rousing on them for making their bed. You're getting them up really early in the morning. My father used to have us out the weekend picking up rocks on our block of land, and it'd be like every weekend. I used to hate my weekends because every weekend we had to do work, as opposed to just relax and be kids. Yeah. But for him, he didn't
go work.
Yeah, or like for instance, if you ever got drunk, the punishment was the next day you'd have to dig a trench.
Oh yeah,
yeah, that's pretty mean. Funny, effective though.
Yeah.
Things like that, but it's so with family court, all of that regimented, really staunch lack of emotional tapping into, which you're taught or trained to do and use in combat, which makes you amazing and makes you fantastic, is weaponized against you because you're not in touch with your emotions over here.
Yeah.
You know, so the way I sort of help guide people around that is look at if you're coming back with your PTSD and everything like that, and that's not a short cure. But the way to do it is to look at all of those traits that you got in the army, which are fantastic, which is organization skills, which is grit. Like you can teach your kids grit. If you can teach your kids to actually have grit, to persevere at something, they'll actually grow up to go and be more of themselves, to follow through instead of just giving up on stuff. They'll be far more successful in their lives, not just career, but everything. So all those different traits that you've got, reflect on those with the children about what you can teach them, and while you're working on flexing that emotional muscle, but acknowledge that what you've done is you've shut down your emotional muscle because and it's a protection mechanism that you've implemented, so that when you open it up, with it will come a little bit of morality, a little bit of focusing on when we were taught good person, bad person, we kill bad person, almost like playing a game type mentality. All of a sudden your morality might kick back into, well, what does that mean? Like, I've just taken somebody's life. But with that also allows for exploration into your emotion with your children and giving them a little bit of an understanding about where you are, that if you talking with kids, depending upon how old you are, you're going, you know what, I was taught to shut that down, but you know, kids, you're probably going to be the best teacher I've ever got. Yeah. Teach me how to reopen it up. Yeah. That type of thing. And work on that to bypass, because there's always a way to bypass that issue, but don't see it as a flaw. Just see it as, where are the gifts in the training that you've got, because there's some amazing ones.
Yeah. For me, it was you know, I think with PTSD there's this stigma with it. You know, people think, oh, PTSD cuckoo, you know, crazy. Like
not at all.
No, not at all. But some people just
they
straight
do.
away, you know. And, you know, they weaponize it against you. Look, I get it. There's some people with PTSD that can't function. Absolutely. I know some myself, but there's a lot of people with PTSD that can function. But now, I know some people in the army that they love the army. They want to stay in the army. They believe they have PTSD, but they believe if they seek help, we're pulling you out. Sorry, mate. Stood down. It's like, I don't want to be stood down. I just want to learn how to still go about my day, but manage whatever triggers are happy, you know. And now, and I've had a lot of veterans, I've had a lot of guys reach out to me and say, mate, I was about to join the army. I'm not joining anymore. And my podcast isn't about stopping people from joining the army. They just hear what happened and how veterans are having the service used against me, because they think, well, if I'm in the army now and I'm talking to my psych, which is confidential.
And they can now tap into all of your.
And then they subpoena your military records. Well, it's not confidential, right?
That's right.
And so they're like, well, what I do now, how is that going to affect me in 10 years' time?
Yeah.
You know? So.
And that actually is, I mean, I get it. There's circumstances where it's important to tap into some people's psych
if you're going to harm someone else or kids, I get it.
I get that. But more times than not, I actually think, and they have been talking about different reforms in relation to it, about locking them down to allow you that safe space.
I didn't think
because it should be a safe space, because isn't it more important that you're able to go and get that help?
Yeah,
because
exactly.
If you told me that anything I was going to say to a psych, it was going to be open slather, I'd be like, you can fuck off.
Exactly right. So now veterans in the army going, shit, I don't know if I want to seek help, because if I seek help and puts on file, in 10 years' time, if I meet someone with a child and I am family court, is that going to get used against me?
Yeah. Can I tell you one of the tips I use for my clients who need to seek help, but they're worried about what that will look like for the
future?
Yeah, for exposure into the court.
Yeah.
The court will look at things like a psychiatrist's notes, a psychologist's notes, possibly even a counselor's notes. They don't give a shit about a life coach.
Yeah,
okay. So what I actually say to my clients is go and get support. You need some support. So at least get a life coach. You can list it down, but if people go, oh, well, I want the paperwork from a life coach, a judge just goes, it's just a life coach.
Life coach, yeah.
It's a life coach. Yeah. I don't think they've even got qualifications.
I've seen a life coach that was 22 years old, and I was like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You've been here since breakfast. What are you teaching about life?
Yeah, exactly.
What do you know about life?
That's exactly right. But there are some really good ones around. Yeah. But it helps. At least then you have something until you're done.
Yeah. How about we jump in? So I have the same standard conclusion question I ask all my guests.
Sure.
Obviously, they're tailored for fathers, but instead of changing them, I just keep them the same. The first one, any advice for fathers, knowing what you know now, would you have changed anything during the court process? So obviously that's for a father that's been through that. I've had other female lawyers on, I've had daughters on. I just get them to try and ask that question as best as they could.
Yeah, there's many things I would actually change for clients going through it. I would actually, and what I do with clients is actually teach them the skills about how to negotiate, how to communicate, what's going on for them in terms of their blueprints, and understanding how they can actually tap in and start healing that stuff, because it really has a significant impact on getting resolution on the matter.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. Number 2, how do we change the system? The family.
Become a politician.
What politician? I know Pauline Hanson. I know Jackie Lamy speaks a bit about family court. Is there any other politicians you know of?
Not that I'm
I
aware
know
of.
of.
And anytime they do, it's always let's just swap it from here to here.
And they get shut down pretty quick, don't they?
The
No one wants to
changes
hear
are
about it.
usually, most of the time, the changes are just, let's just rearrange words.
Mm.
And I just sit there and go, this really is not effectual.
Yeah.
It's just, I think they just like us to keep on toes and keep relearning the same laws in a different way.
Funny one. You're on death row. The guard comes and asks you what you want for your final meal, drink, and dessert.
That's an interesting one.
Bottle of red.
So last meal, yeah, maybe. Because I'm intolerant to all sugar except glucose.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I'll end up in massive pain. So if I have like ice cream, a little bit of ice cream, half an hour later, I'm in the worst pain in the world. Yeah, it's horrendous.
So you don't have
my life is fucking boring.
Yeah. So you do have a sweet tooth, but you just can't eat it, or you just don't.
Yeah, my body won't tolerate it at all. So I would probably say, and it wouldn't be one bowl of red, although it's my last time, so maybe I want to be coherent. So I'd probably say something like as much sugar as possible, because by then I'll be in that much pain.
Yeah, okay. So
I want to die.
what sugar would you choose? Be dessert?
Caramel.
I reckon? Like caramel slice or something? Just some caramel.
No.
Sticky date pudding? I like sticky date.
Yeah, that's not bad. I don't know. No, it'd have to be like flowing caramel.
Yeah, okay.
Caramel tart used to be.
Oh, yeah.
As long as they don't stick bananas in
it.
Yeah. Yeah, something like that.
Okay, food though? Last meal?
It'd be a degustation menu.
A what?
A degustation menu.
What's that?
You know, when you have like 7 or 9
different things?
Different things with matching wines. That would do it.
Sounds a bit too fancy for me.
Yeah. Nice and small, because I haven't got a big tummy. So,
yeah. If you were in a room with every single person you'd met or interacted with on this journey, who is the first person you'd be drawn to and why? So maybe just anyone in your life that you've come.
The first person I'd always be drawn to would be Marie Neon, who was, I don't know if you know Cohen Ray, who died last year.
Oh, the motivational dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the conference I'm about to go to is one from him.
Oh,
and
true.
She was his right hand.
Yeah, right.
And she used to work with Tony Robbins, and she is one of the most beautiful people.
Did you go to his funeral at all?
Yes, I did.
So my mate Carl, who used to train me in Muay Thai, he was there, and I think he said he even gave a speech. You might have seen him. Bald head. He was good mates with him too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Small world. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was a beautiful funeral.
Yeah, sad. Yeah, sad. Because he took his life. Is that?
Yes.
Yeah,
he did.
What strategies or tips helped during the process that you could recommend to any listeners?
I got heaps.
Yeah.
I have heaps. Like that's like another 2 hours of conversation. Okay, here's a really good one. So let's do a really basic one for you. Is one communication styles.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens during negotiation when you're talking with the other party is there are 4 different communication styles. So we'll factor them into colors. And what happens is people keep communicating with the other side, and you go, the other party's not getting it. So even if you haven't separated, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you haven't separated, you're like, you know, the whole men are from Mars, women from Venus. Yeah, well, there's also Pluto and Jupiter and shit in there for other people as well. Like, there's different ones. So there's 4 different colors. So the first color we're going to say is green. So green is people who are green are ones who are very safety focused. So think of buying a car. They're the people who are going to go and buy a Volvo. They're going to look at the stats or statistics.
How many Ks it's done?
No. They're not going to look at the Ks. They're going to look at what's the safety rating, how many airbags in it, you know, the harnessing, the seatbelts, all of that stuff.
Yep.
They're the person who really fixates on that. Then we have the color, which is blue. Blue are the data people. They're the ones who are like, show me statistics. Where's the stats? Where's the evidence that's going to support that? I want the data of it. So if you're going through property settlement, they're the ones who are going to come through with the Excel spreadsheet with I earned this much each year and list it down and go money for money, dollar for dollar, this is what it should be.
Yep.
They're those people. Then we have the color red. So red are
Red is bad.
No.
I just
these
assume
are
red because like red.
a little bit
Red
tricky.
fine.
No. Red is people who are emotion based. So they go by the gut. Oh, I don't feel like that's the right decision for me. Oh, that doesn't feel good. So when they're talking, they're using words like feel, touching and feeling. So they're very much emotion focused, right? And then you have the yellows. So the yellows are the dreamers. They're the visionaries. They're the like, oh, at the end of the separation, I can see I'm going to have this beautiful home and it's going to be decked out like this. And we're all just going to get along. It's going to be amazing, right?
Yep.
They're the dreamers. So the key with that is, and with the book I'm writing, it's there's a questionnaire in there for you to figure out what your color is. Yeah. But your color changes when you're in a state of stress, right? So I did this with my team in a activity day at work. It was hilarious. I made them do the questionnaire first for them all to find out their colors. Then what I did was I reactivated a stress situation. So I don't know if you know the game Spot It.
No.
Okay, it's an irritating fucking game that moves very fast. And very high intensity. And so I had them all playing a game of Spot It in different groups. And then as they're playing, I turned around and I said, and it's really important because if you finally get a winner of one table, you then got to play off against the other tables and then we're going to have a final match. And if they don't win, you all lose a prize out of your table. So the pressure on that one person really intense. And while they're doing that, I had sirens going off and alarms and bombs going on, like all of that, like really hype it up. And they're like, I can't think, I can't
focus.
think. Right. So I really ramped it up. Then I had them go back and redo it again because sometimes for people, their colors change and it shifts.
Yeah, okay.
And the important part about that is knowing your color is one thing. Then also trying to figure out what the color is of the other party is really important as well. Because if you are a data person, let's say you're in blue and you're talking to somebody who is red and you're just giving them statistics and going, why can't we come to an agreement? Because you're not talking in their language. So if you want to talk to a red and get them across the line, talk to them about how does this make you feel? Does this give you certainty? You know, always talking about that. And that type of thing. If you're in yellow, like if you're in green and you want to talk to yellow, you're about safety. Yellow doesn't give a shit about safety. By the way, I'm a yellow.
Yeah. Would you say that's matching fire with fire in a sense? Like if they're green and you got to match them with green, you know what I mean?
You've got to think of it like translation. If somebody's
Same
talking in
language.
Chinese and the other person is talking
Arabic.
Yeah.
It's not going to go anywhere.
That's what's happening when you're in negotiation, and what happens a lot. People are they might actually be saying exactly the same thing, but you're not tapping into the right communication. So for you, the best tool, the really easiest tool is to work out what your color is and what you're predominantly aligned to.
Yep.
And then work out what their color is. And when you're talking to them, start talking to what it is they need or what is their highest value. Because that's what they're showing you. Is they're showing you their highest value is statistics, right? Highest value is safety. Highest value is emotion and connection. Highest value is dream, vision, goals.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you can do that, it'll actually flip a mediation and get you a resolution potentially.
That's a good one. Last one, and this normally hits the father's different depending what journey that, but any message for your children?
I will always tell my children, honestly, be fierce, be true, and do not dull your shine for any fucking person.
Love it. Love it. Well, we've come to an end. I know we could speak about this for hours, but before I wrap up, obviously, if people want to reach out to you, obviously you've got a book coming out.
I do.
And when will it be finished, you reckon?
I've finished the first write, so it will probably be probably about a month. It'll be out.
And the book's called?
Don't know. Haven't
Don't
figured
know?
that. Well, I had a few, but there's so much.
Don't
There's only
spoil
so
it.
many
Yeah,
fucks
don't-
you can put on it.
Yeah. And if they buy it, it'll be online or
It
in a
will be
shop
online, and
yep.
then we'll be also getting hard copies. Yeah.
Perfect. You've got your website, nolawyers.com. You've got your law firm as well, based out of Ferny Grove.
Yeah, Queensland Family Law Practice.
Yep. I don't know if people can contact you directly through social media. Do you have personal social media that you don't have to share? You don't have to share.
No. So I do have. There is the personal. There's the professional page. There,
your work page. Yep.
Yep. Plenty of people reach out in that regard as well. Yep.
Anything else?
Oh, that'll do.
That will do.
Is that not enough?
That's plenty. I know we could keep going.
Plenty of stuff going on.
But yeah, look, on behalf of the Broken Fathers podcast, I'd like to thank you for coming on, sharing your story, sharing your experience. I have no doubt that a lot of fathers and mothers are going to take a lot from this. And yeah, appreciate you taking the drive down. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and all the best with your book, and hope you finish the year strong.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Happy to be here.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you.
Thanks.